Where?
Shit, wine.
It just now. It just now took his life.
There's a lag, huh?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I'm gonna take this down in a second, but we're here, so. All right, I guess we're fucking live. That's me discovering
my phone. Hold on 1 second. Let's see.
Yeah, I didn't even press record on this shit yet. Me and my fucking technical prowess. All right, we're live. It's human condition.
We're over here having private conversations, not knowing if it's live or not. Jesus fucking Christ.
None of this shit can be used against us in court, though. This is I'm Jude just hired me as his therapist, so we got confidentiality.
Confidentiality. I am a minister as well, too.
So you can marry us.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm here with Jude Angelini, Rude Jude.
That's right. Yeah, let me get that out the way so y'all can see me. Boom.
Hey, that's his shit though, right there. That wine.
That's that
only
wine.
500 bottles.
Yeah.
Came with this edition of the book right here.
I was trying to get that book out to people. Like, I do really well within my fan base.
Yeah.
So I was trying to reach outside of my fan base. Tristan Eaton did the art. It's Orange Swift did the wine. I'm not allowed to say. They're not allowed to say that because I'm so grimy. But
oh really?
Yeah. It's the most. It's from their most high end fucking shit. It's like super high end.
I know. I drank my Bob. Thank you for that. By the way.
Yeah. So I was just trying to branch out. And,
did it work? Because I know. Because I was like, I saw that. I grabbed it up. I'm like, I gotta get that.
It didn't work at all. I was the only one that promoted it.
Were you?
Yeah.
I saw it. That's where I saw it. I saw it on your. I think it was on your Instagram, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta have that.
Yeah.
And then I didn't want to drink the bottle, but it was sitting there. It was a pandemic.
Right. So fucking crack that shit open, have a nice one. It's funny, I did a blind tasting and I'm like, I want this one. They're like, you just picked our most expensive bottle. It's gonna cost a lot. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I want people to drink good.
Yeah, well, they did. You sell them all?
No, we didn't. There's 500 left. Now they're aged 3 years.
Okay.
Properly aged 3 years, rotated the whole fucking 9.
Are you gonna blast them back out?
I think Valentine's Day I'm gonna redrop it.
You heard that? Valentine's Day.
Super collectible, like super collectible. The wine's collectible, like.
Okay.
It's I just try to make fucking quality shit and get it to people.
Well, I was telling people on that. I don't even know who bought your book, if anybody even bought it, but I like through my shit. But if you did and you didn't post, then you're missing out because I was talking about vintage. And if anybody who follows Jude, he knows his vintage shit. Like he's got a collector's eye for shit. Yeah. So that I didn't know it was gonna be that good though. Like I thought it was a promo and whatever, and I really got it for the bottle. When I opened it, I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't open that. I'm like, that was a really good wine.
That was because here's the deal. Like all these rappers, they sell bullshit to these motherfuckers, and they put their name on it,
and then they promote the fuck out of it.
And it's like you got people buying like some bullshit fucking foam shoes for $500. They're drinking fucking bullshit drinks for fucking paying $70 a bottle. And I just want them to have quality. Like that's my main goal. Like I even was selling some art. Like I was inspired by Snapchat because I was opening everybody's snaps and everyone's snap that I'm opening is like they got fucking they got a flat screen with wires coming down, like bare ass walls and shit. And I'm like, yo, dude, you need art. Like you need art in your life.
You think different. So you were looking at their places and you're like, you got this will look, this will make your place look better. Yeah. Make you feel better. Yeah, like look, everything I do is like I'm doing it, I'm gonna try to make some money, but I want people to have quality shit. Like that is my goal. Like not to buy brands because I'm listening, I'm just pushing that shit out real quick.
Not to buy brands because of brands, but actually because they're fucking good. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. Like, boom, pushing it out. Okay, there's a delay in this shit, so pulling out, and then on the back.
There's vintage Jude right there.
Vintage Judy, yeah, straight up Italian sweater, Gerard Perigo gold watch, and I got some
Let me see that.
Buffalo.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Gerard Perigo, and then the Buffalo frames. We're Michigan boys. You're Detroit, I'm Pontiac, and it's all about the Buffies. It's all about the Cartier buffs, but I think they're fucking ugly as hell. They look like chopsticks.
They do those Cartier buffs.
Yeah, they're fucking ugly as fuck. But I love the idea of like animals having to die for me to wear cool shit. So I went and found these buffs. They're a bit more architectural.
You did. So somebody's gonna say some shit about that. Who's got to die for you to wear cool shit?
Animals.
Like, yeah, it's the food chain.
Yeah, like I'm okay with being top of the food chain. Like, come to grips with it. Like all of you guys are benefiting from being top of the food chain and hating yourself.
That is true though.
So fucking just come to terms with the fact that you're top of the food chain. Even when you're yelling at me on your little fucking iPhones, there's some fucking African kids mining cobalt, getting pumped down by warlords
for the iPhone,
just so that you can yell at me for like not being woke enough.
Yeah,
fucking asshole.
You know that you bring up an interesting point though, because we say we're top of the food chain, but then you said top of the food chain and we hate ourselves.
Yeah.
So you know, like, I never seen something as happy as an abused dog. Even like that abused dog's gonna come running to the door when the owner comes home, happy as fuck. If it gets a kick, then it's gonna flinch or whatever, but it's gonna be happy again the next minute. Don't know it's gonna die. Don't give a fuck. It's just happy. And us humans, we're scared of shit.
Yeah, it's
scared shitless. Like we fucking we'll put ourselves in our own little prison because we're so scared of what might happen.
You know when I think it ended? This is when shit got bad, when they started having kids wear bike helmets, bro. Like, when they started having kids wear bike helmets, and I'm seeing like 9-year-olds and fucking like booster seats in the cars and shit like that, like weird 9-year-old size fucking like safety seats. Now you got all these people worried about safety over freedom, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean it's a weird thing because I get what you're saying to a certain point, like them. But 9 years old, and you're gonna give me a ticket for my son's tall. Like, leave my son the fuck alone. I didn't get a ticket, you know what I mean? But I'll be worried about that shit for the ticket, not for safety.
Even seatbelt tickets, that's the pull you over for no reason ticket. Like that's the like I've been tailed by cops for like a couple miles. I remember I got some pussy. I was in a rental. I'm driving home. It's early in the morning. She was out in Ipsy, so I had to stay the night. And I got this Ferndale cop fucking follow me for 2 miles. I stopped at Omega to buy a goddamn egg sandwich. They don't take a card. So I hop in to go get some cash. The cop is waiting in the parking lot and he pulls me over while I'm backing back.
Cause I don't seatbelt?
Yeah, for no seatbelt. Searches me and shit. I'm like, all right, dog. Like, yeah.
That's some bullshit.
It's my right if I want to fly through the fucking window. Like, let me die. It's my right to die.
You know why they did it though, and then this was it, because I used to always say that, like, if somebody wants to die, let them. You know, this entire, like, everything's owned by big insurance. Everything. The reason the pandemic happened the way that it did is because if they would have let it just run its course and everybody get herd immunity, right? And I looked at these numbers and I was looking at their simulations. The effect it would have had on the insurance industry to have to cover that many people in that age bracket dying within 2 years would have been devastating to them. So they said, let the little man take it, and they switched it over. It was never about health. It was fucking crazy. So the reason that seatbelt thing is in place is insurance, because they got sick of cleaning. They didn't want to clean people off the fucking freeway, and people were dying from it. So their lobby went in and pushed the agenda.
And then you get then you let women vote, and now it's over.
I didn't say that shit.
All you gotta do is show like a chick a dead baby on like in Syria, and next thing you know, we're fucking bombing a whole city for fucking 2 days. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Fuck yeah. I'm just serious. Like, I'm
just serious. He's got legislation against women voting that he came over with a petition.
I'll be halfway joking about that shit. But yeah, sure.
But it is that lobby, those motherfuckers, you know?
And then they trick you to believe that it's for your safety.
And then they sell that agenda. And you know what, like, cause I fuck insurance companies up all day. We're gonna fuck your insurance company up pretty soon, but no, it's for real. Like today, that's all I did was fight with these people. And like, there's this one guy, he's foreign language. They always fuck with old people, people with foreign language and women. And they'll talk circles around him. This guy don't owe me any money. He paid all his shit, but they're fucking him on his like $1,300. So I went in. The insurance industry, they've taken about 3 trillion a year. 2 trillion is from their investments, 1 trillion is from premiums. That is, so in 3 trillion, they have the highest GDP behind the US and Japan only. I mean, these motherfuckers own everything. They control everything globally. It's all a trickle down effect through them in the national.
That.
I didn't know it either till I got into this business.
It's fucking crazy. What a hustle, bro. What a fucking hustle.
I was trying to, so I had my kids, and I just finished. Remember, Life Goes On. You did the MCing for that. When I had that premiere, but so I just did a Cut Print horror movie, right? And I was moving back to LA. That was the plan. Janet Lockwood called me. She's like, "Hey, we got this legislation going through. You might want to stick around." So I stuck around for the incentives, and then Dickface Snyder pulled the incentives and killed it immediately. So now I got a son and a daughter on the way, and I'm like, "Fuck, man, I ain't moving my kids to fucking LA. That ain't happening." So I just stumbled into this. Like I was out here, so until about 2013, I was still, I'm an actor full time. No, I ain't fucking. The last thing I did was Batman, Superman, and I blew up right away. Right. So I'm not. I got to find something else, and I stumbled into this. My first thing, there was a 9-year-old woman. She had like a $6,000 roof in Roseville. Right. She had a $100 deductible. Been with the fucking people so long. They came out and said they were going to do half her roof. I was like, the fuck you are. And then I won that fight. It took 4 times getting them out there, and I won it. And I was like, I can do this. You know what I mean? And they got the pockets, so fuck them. You know. But yeah, it's like,
they're trying to fuck me right now. I don't want to talk about it. I want nothing on tape.
And they won't. I promise you, they won't
dig me down.
But so I see the comparison in to Bukowski. I always did. But it's not Bukowski. It's a whole different dynamic. A little more real. He's a little more in
Bukowski's a bit more flowery.
He's more fantastical.
He's more flowery, and here's the other thing too. He's cut from a different time. Like it's okay for men to be more sensitive now. Yeah, he was less sensitive, and you can really like. It's hard for me to read Bukowski because I can just see his insecurities just like coming through.
That's true.
Super tough.
That's true, yeah.
But he did inspire me to write him, Elmore Leonard, and
you see that?
No, that's another Michigan cat.
Hunter Thompson. I can see some Hunter Thompson in there.
And the crazy shit is I stopped, like my shit is compared to, like, it's the closest thing you're gonna get to beat writer shit, like real talk, like it's real life, real talk. Flyover state, grimy shit. And I stopped reading all those guys just because I didn't want to copy off of them. I read westerns and medieval fantasy.
Do you?
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't even read fiction.
Yeah.
So why didn't Oprah pick this shit up? She goes and grabs that million little piece of shit. That's all fantasy for the most part. You ever read that?
No, my ex, it's funny that one reason why she's my ex, she was like, fucking Oprah fanatic and bought me a million little pieces, and I was just like, I'm not gonna read this fucking lying ass.
It's all bullshit.
I got a real problem with rappers and musicians, rappers, artists that front like they've been through some shit.
Yeah.
Because for cats that actually have been through some shit and are on the fringe, and I'm watching somebody eat off of like some fake pain. It's like stolen valor. It's like somebody saying they went to Nam and they didn't. It's like, bro, you don't know about this shit.
No, and you see that in victim culture too. Like people don't want to, if you're too left, oh boy, what do you mean victim culture? And then, I mean, if you're one extreme or the other, you're an extreme, fucking stop it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you're an extreme, you're not right. Just
try to be nuanced in the way that you look at shit. But like here, it was I used to post more nuanced shit on my fucking Instagram and alienate people, and I'd be like, they're so dumb. And then I'm like, I'm the dumb motherfucker for posting nuanced things for these fucking low IQ idiots that don't fucking understand shit.
Because some of your shit, I laugh at almost all of it. Yeah. And some of it, I'm like, man, that's too far, but it's fucking funny because I get the humor.
Right.
Like, it's so fucking out there. Like I like South Park, you know what I mean?
Right.
Are they fucking, it's their way of, there's genius in the way that they deliver it, because not everybody's gonna go read a newspaper article.
Yeah.
They're not, you know what I mean? So this is how some people get their news delivered to them.
Look, man, I came from a family with, my dad was super abusive. My mom habitually, they both habitually cheated on each other. I was brought along with that shit. The cops are constantly at my house. And like, you either laugh or you cry. So I'm laughing at, like, I laugh at fucked up shit. You know what I mean? Like, I laugh at shit that other people are like, oh, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like, well, bro, you ain't been through what I've been through, so your sense of humor is gonna be different than my fucking sense of humor.
It's a way of coping. I mean, because there's no coincidence I became an actor. Like I was abused. I'm sure we were abused differently.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
abuse is abuse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But and it does something to your brain, and it keeps you hyper vigilant,
Right.
and you take those defense mechanisms into your life as an adult. You don't fucking know until you're lucky enough to have an addiction or something, and you got to start evaluating yourself. You know that, I mean, and that's the thing, is like, I didn't know until I knew, until I said, I needed other people around me to tell me that I cared about, that, hey, the shit you're doing is fucked up. Otherwise, I'd never see the shit.
That's the hardest thing, because you live in denial. And the reason why we live in denial is so that we don't have to change our behavior. You know what I mean? You kind of like, they could have gave you a PowerPoint presentation on how you're fucking up, but you're gonna just ignore it.
I'd argue it.
You don't want to change your behavior.
No, that's bullshit. You're wrong.
Yeah.
I tell them why they're wrong and why they're fucked up.
And that's the scariest thing, having a smart motherfucker be able to fucking reason their bullshit behavior, dog. Like, that's a dangerous thing.
It was like, I remember a teacher, and she hated me. She didn't hate me. I think she loved me, because I still remember this, but she didn't want to pass me. And
probably because you didn't deserve that shit.
Well, the grades were good, but I missed 35 classes, and like but I had a house in high school, so my principal made a deal with me. He said, if you can keep the senior class sober for the rest of our events, you graduate.
Good for you.
Yeah, well, kind of, you know. But she told me, she's like, you know what? She's like, people like you are the scariest people in the world, because you're so intelligent, but you have no moral compass. And I was like, the first thing was fuck you, you know. But I go back to that, and she was right, because I didn't have a compass, and I was real fucked up until boot camp saved me and put me on a different kind of, it was a criminal boot camp, but it was still Marine boot camp without the weapons training. That'd have been fucked up if they trained us in weapons.
Yeah.
If they did the whole fuking thing.
So you fucking felons how to actually rob properly.
Yeah.
How to hold a gun.
But no, I was just beat down, and I realized in that like I loved it. Like, I thought I would hate it because I didn't want to be bossed around, but like, I was really trying out for discipline, and nobody ever held me accountable because I was smart and I could talk my way out of shit. Or I would just beat them down with my words, and I'm like, fuck this guy. You know what I mean?
That's the thing about discipline. Discipline makes a child feel safe.
It does.
Like, people want to be friends with their kids. Fuck that shit. You're not their friend. It's your job to fucking raise somebody that I can deal with in public. And like, discipline gives a child boundaries that makes them feel safe, or else you're just gonna wild the fuck out and wild the fuck out and wild the fuck out. And no one says no. Like, it's dangerous.
Kids don't even, they don't even know how to talk right yet. Right. So if they don't like it, the world's a big fucking place. I know I can, like, if I'm given too much leeway in a project, it might take me a while to get to where I need to be because I don't have any boundaries, and I can go wherever the fuck I want to go. Right. So it's you need those. Well, you don't want to be confined. You don't want to be, it's not iron fist shit, but you need some kind of guidance. And when you're trying to be friends with your kids, you ain't guiding them for shit. No. There's a lot of that in California.
You're doing a disservice. And the other thing too, now my homeboy is a tutor, and he said he sees more here's the deal, man. I know this sounds out cold, but like, you and your wife, that's the foundation. Like, you and your wife are the foundation. As soon as you start picking sides with the kids over your husband or your wife, it's a fucking wrap. You're dead in the water. The kid dies, you can make a new motherfucking kid, bro. Like, it's like you and your wife is number one, and then the kids are number two, and it's for everyone's good. It's like, I know it sounds out cold, and I don't actually mean it, but like, the kid, but it's like, for the kids' own good, they have to be number two.
Yeah.
And too many of these people are too many. You see it a lot with women. Too many of these women are actually married with their children instead of to their husband.
You see it with men too sometimes, but it is, but women do want to be friends. I've noticed more with their, like, that's a good, I got lucky, you know, me and my ex, we're not together.
Right.
But there was a point, and there was the bitterness for about a year and a half when we were done.
Yeah.
But we got over it when, like, there was just, because we both were abused, both fucked up. You know what I mean? And then when the growth started happening, somewhere along we realized that, well, if they're number one, meaning that it's got to be about them. We have to fucking get along. We have to present a united front. So they can't come to me with some bullshit without me calling their mom. Doesn't matter if we don't live together. Like, no, you ain't gonna, because they got to know if that united front isn't there, there's no front. Like you said, there's no fucking front.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, and they will. And those little motherfuckers do it too.
They're smart builds. They're playing one side against the other, bro.
Well, and they don't even know they're manipulating. Like when they're so until you're 8 years old, roughly, you don't have forethought. So you can't even think into the future to manipulate. You just do it because that's what you do. Tactics. You know, you're growing.
If I want something, I do this repeatedly, then I get that.
That's it. It's real mechanical shit.
Yeah.
And if you're not doing anything to guide them along that path, they'll just keep doing that shit.
Yeah,
and then we punish them for it.
Yeah.
You say it's their fault. You know.
Yeah, and it's actually the parents' fault for being not good at parenting. So it is.
And you know, and it's their fault. At a certain point, we got to accept the consequences. But like you said, denial ain't a choice. Like people don't realize that. Oh, you're in denial. They say it like it's a bad thing, but it's not a choice. It's a defense mechanism. That's like you were saying. I laugh at bad shit. Well, I don't want to hear the shit you're saying because then that means I'm bad. Right. So I got Bessel. I don't know if Bessel's coming on next week, but Alicia Sky, she runs the Trauma Research Foundation with Bessel Vanderbilt, who wrote The Body Keeps the Score. So there's two voices on trauma right now. It's really Bessel and Gabramante. So and I learned a lot from his book, and through going through PTSD, getting on the other side of that shit, I learned that. So I lived in fight or flight, like, so everything was death to me. It was life or death. Right. I would get hit with something like you're a dickhead, and that means I'm gonna die. Right. So I go into fight or flight. Yeah. I can't even get up here into the frontal lobe. The neocortex, everything that makes us human is inaccessible because I'm back here in fucking fight or flight. Yeah. So when somebody's in denial,
and you're also living with constant adrenaline buzz that's fucking with your nervous system and
hypervigilance.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
it's true.
But like that's another thing that affects your brain too. That affects the way your brain's wired.
Because it's just right there. So it gets to the amygdala, and the amygdala is the processor that's going to tell you, no, this is cool, we can process this. Right. Or that's that hypervigilance you're talking about. You're hypervigilant as fuck, and it's like, no, survival. You got to protect yourself. And you go into fight or flight, and then like a motherfucker, like George Floyd, for example, I saw his eyes because I've had my eyes go dark like that, and only because I know trauma the way I know it. I know he blacked the fuck out. He wasn't there. Right. There's a way to get that guy off a ledge. But you got to be trained. You got to know how to talk because it's not him. He ain't even making decisions anymore. For me, it was an 8-year-old kid when things snapped for me. That motherfucker was making all my decisions as an adult, right, and protecting me from everything. And I got to a point where I came up out of the hood and whatever, and I was doing all right. But that fucker still thought I needed to fight for my life all the fucking time.
That was the hardest thing for me is like going into the corporate world and getting rid of everything that helped me survive up until that point. And then like I write about it in the book where it's like you think that you can just run up and check a motherfucker, fucking, you know. In the book, it's like you got to do emails, paper trails, as per our last conversation. Ain't no running up on somebody in the fucking hallway, dog.
You're just keeping it real.
Yeah, I burnt so many bridges. I've been there for 16 years, and it's like it took me a decade to repair some of the bridges that I fucking burned. And to this day, like I'm the difficult one. You know?
Are you still?
Yeah, and the funny thing is like they'll keep me. I'll lose my job over some fucking idiot that can't do their job because they won't speak out. But they're quiet. But I'm loud about. I'm like, yo, this ain't right.
Yeah,
and boom, like I'm a problem.
You're a problem.
I just learned to shut the fuck up, keep my head down, make my money where I can, and like pick your battles, dog. You just gotta pick your battles.
Yeah, you got to, because if I fought everything, I'd I'd be fucked. I wouldn't be alive right now. I wouldn't be a good dad.
The other thing to your point too is I was talking to a expert on PTSD. He went to NAM and he works with veterans and you know the super high suicide rate with these vets and all that shit. Yeah. And both you and I, it's like we didn't go to war, but as a 4-year-old, the type of shit that you're seeing is just as damaging as somebody that went to war.
More. It's even because they have a visual. We don't even know what the fuck's going on.
Oh no, you're just seeing like the cops are coming or fucking they're taking your dad away. I remember my dad my dad and my mom are breaking up. But they're still living together, and she takes a phone call from her lover in front of him. And he loses his fucking shit and he busts a mason jar. And now his hand split open, he's bleeding all over the place. And we're living in a government housing, and I'm on the front porch sharpening a popsicle stick into a little knife. And I just remember him coming out and just bleeding all over the place. And like they end up putting him in the psych ward and shit like that. And for years there was still the blood stain on the porch, you know, and like that shit fucking affects you. You know what I mean? Like you're a 4-year-old, it affects you. You know, you shake it off you got to shake it off in a minute because you got to keep living, but it gets buried deep down inside of you and you got to deal with it.
So the mechanisms, and I'm glad we're talking about this because like I can read yours in its case study. I'm like, I know, I can kind of, you know, these are stories that are traumatizing, but there's some, like I know the depth of the shit because I went through it. So when you're triggered, and I didn't know any of this till I read Bessel's book. I knew through cognitive processing therapy, I learned how to feel the visceral response because I used to think I could talk my way out of it. There's no logic, so I could feel it first.
Right.
So I started to learn how it felt, and then when I did that, I could move away from that fucking emotion that wasn't connected to reality. So what happens is you got this section of the brain, it's called the Brodmann section. It's up here. It's the section that'll go offline when you have a stroke. So it's linear speech, it's all these things. So when you're triggered, this goes offline as if you're having a stroke. The fucking craziest part about it is this comes online, it's called the Broca section. The Broca section is responsible for taking in immediate imagery only. That's all it does, and it pushes it up. So you're not saying they would have people in these dark rooms in these capsules, and they'd be triggering them with words or smells about the event. So they're experiencing pictures in real time of that event. So they're living that shit in their head, but they don't know they're doing it. There's no conscious thought. It's just buried. And they figured out that this goes off, this goes on. They're reliving it, whether they like it or not. They get triggered by a smell, something, they don't even know what the fuck's going on. It's just, all of a sudden you're in fight or flight and don't even fucking know it. You think you're a regular person doing regular life. And there's so many people that are affected by this. Like you were saying, so I thought it was just veteran. When they told me in 2013, they diagnosed me, I'm like, I've never been to war.
Yeah.
But then I thought of it, I'm like, I have. You know what I mean?
Like, you got a lot of people from abusive families and the hood, shit like that, that are walking around with PTSD. The other thing too, to further prove your point is when you're angry, like you only got so much energy, and the shit leaves your frontal cortex.
Yeah.
And it goes to your fucking, it goes to your angry part. And like, I don't know how many times I've done dumb shit when I'm angry. Like fucking, like screaming at a cab driver and leaving my phone in the fucking cab, just like fucking, like, I don't know how many times I've done dumbass shit when I'm angry because I've literally lost IQ.
Sober too, right? Like, blackout fucking mad.
Yeah, I'm fucking pissed. And now I'm screaming on you and fucking losing things. Now I gotta go back and fucking eat crow and fucking, excuse me, do you got my phone? Guy that I just screamed at for fucking 2 minutes. Thank you. I'll leave now. Like, it's embarrassing. It makes you chill the fuck out having to eat that humble pie. You know what I mean?
That's the only thing it does, because if you don't.
Nothing like shame to fucking help change you, dude. Like, I don't think there's enough shame in this fucking, like, I feel like shame has helped me fucking change the way I behave at times.
Shame, well,
You don't have to live with it forever, but
that's the thing.
to feel it, recognize it, and adjust your behavior so you no longer feel that way.
So that's the key thing because, and I don't know what it was for you that, so there's something called toxic shame that like humility is good. So toxic shame, there's a difference between somebody who says, fuck, I'm a piece of shit for doing that, or the person who says, man, that was fucked up, I need to change that.
Right.
For my whole life, I was a piece of shit until there's something snapped to where I was like,
living with
maybe I can change that.
Yourself
Yeah.
That's not good, but like a behavior that you do that requires you to feel fucked up over, and then you can adjust.
Doesn't it take hurting someone you love to get, that's what it took for me, like you hurt someone you love and then you think, man, I wish I wouldn't have done that shit.
I always tell that to women. I do an advice column or advice thing, and
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah, it's called What Would Jude Do? And a lot of these women, they're getting dogged by their boyfriends, and I'm like, break up with his ass, but like, do not be surprised if the next chick that he gets, he's gonna lock it down with her ass, because it took losing you, it took the pain of losing you for him to adjust his behavior and become a fucking human being. You know what I mean? Like, so, and they take it so personal. It's like, no, dude, like you the pain of losing you made him change his behavior.
There's a book called, I give it away every time somebody, it's called Radical Forgiveness, and it changed my life because I would carry burdens of, so the whole premise is souls, they come into this planet, whatever you fucking believe, it can be energy, right?
Yeah.
It's quantum physics. There's these energy signatures that match each other, and they're all here for a reason.
And energy's infinite, isn't it?
Energy's infinite. So you got these two pieces of energy that are there to serve a purpose to each other. And my purpose in that relationship may have been to be an asshole, so you never deal with an asshole again.
Right.
And I needed to be hurt because of what I lost.
Yeah.
And then radical forgiveness, you get to go back through all your relationships. They don't have to be romantic, they can be business, whatever. And you can look at them all and be like, ah, fuck, I grew because of that.
Yeah.
And you can thank them. But too many people get stuck on that relationship. They think it's supposed to be permanent because we're taught that dumb shit. No, like we're all here to learn from each other. And if people can just let go and say, you know what, I wasn't supposed to own you. That ain't love anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that. I didn't know you had that advice column. I gotta check that shit out.
No, I just do it on the radio. People call up. I give them tough love.
Oh, all right.
It's just tough love. It's just tough love. It's just me fucking being real. And it's like, look, I'm not an expert, but I'll tell you how I feel. And it's like those who can't do teach a lot of times. So It's like shit that I've struggled with. I'll give you my feedback on it, and you do what you want to do. Like, I'm not gonna change it. You know,
but you say some deep shit for not being an expert. Like I listen to your shit and I haven't listened to your advice column, but you know, the white people Wednesday shit used to crack me up. I was always on that.
Yeah.
Is that still going?
No, I stopped doing it because I started at a time where you could make fun of everybody and we all were able to laugh with each other, and now we
got a little sensitive.
We no longer can laugh with each other, and now it's just beat up on fucking white people shit, and I'm not gonna participate in that.
What, in your industry, you're saying?
In general, systemically.
Yeah, I don't see it.
All right.
I don't see it so much. Like but it's
in my industry, it's pretty prevalent.
No, I can see it.
And on my Instagram.
Well, you're corporate too.
It's pretty prevalent. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I came from Los Angeles. I was in LA. It was like straight up like
woke.
Yeah.
It's funny that they use that word because if you study consciousness, if you're a deep study of consciousness, if you really don't, the woke state's the worst state. Like for real, you don't want to be in the woke state. Means you're awake to this shit. You're, you know, this is really a dream. Like in deep consciousness, you want to get to no mind. So if you're thinking about anything, you're not truly in that. That's where ketamine takes you. Ketamine at psychedelic doses, if you don't have a high tolerance for it, takes you to that no mind place.
Yes, that disassociative that helps you, knocks you off your block and fucking.
It's chemically induced transcendental meditation if you get the right dose. Because I know that, like, one of the thing that saved me as an adult, because I was going down that path. I was in denial. I was an asshole. I denied that my dad was part of me so much that I was doing things that emulated who he was. But it was like, well, I didn't beat her up, so I can cuss her out. You know what I mean? Or that kind of shit.
I had that same similar thing where I had so much violence in the house that I just thought it was regular to fucking scream and like smack things, not them. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That was it's a low level down, so I'm
Yeah.
all right.
It's like, what are you talking about? This is just how people behave, and you're like, no, I'm fucking freaking this fucking person out. They're scared.
I remember getting in LA and I saw some guys pushing each other outside of the bar.
Yeah.
And we don't push. Like there ain't no push fighting where I come from, and that never left me. Like, oh, you don't have to fuck people, you know. And nobody has to die over an argument, and I guess you can push each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that was in LA. It's the first time I ever had the realization that if somebody gets within, you know, there was like a safe space.
Right,
and if somebody got too close and they were aggressive, I had to hit them. You know what I mean? Like, or else they were gonna get me.
It was it's funny, I had that same thing. Like, I would go out and people would step on my shoes, and out here that means it's like back in the old days, it's like being smacked in the face with a white glove. Like, we're gonna have a duel now. And like, I just had to fucking come to grips with, like, this is their culture. They step on shoes and don't say excuse me, and like, fucking when in Rome, like, or else you're gonna be fucking arguing and fighting people all the fucking time.
Eventually in prison, you know what I mean? Or not dead, probably in prison.
Or I can't fight, so knocked out. You know what I mean? Like, sleep somewhere because someone stepped on my fucking kicks.
But I remember, like, what you looking at? Nobody's looking at anything. Like, you're a human passing another human, they might glimpse at you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But out here it was like you couldn't catch somebody's gaze.
The shit that I wasn't used to in LA was like, we don't got a ton of Mexican cats out here, so I wasn't used to like Mexican aggression. Like out here, like I'm used to black aggression. It's pretty fucking straightforward. Mexican, I remember one time I had a meeting at 7-Eleven. I'm stopping to get a fucking $5 energy drink. There's a cat my age like looking at me like some cholo. He's like, "What's up, man? You good?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. You good?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm good." "You good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And I'm like, "Are we gonna fuck or fight?" Like, I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. Like, it was like, hey, it felt like the training day. Like, you ever got your shit pushed in? Let me hold that shit, man. Let me hold that gun, man. Let's see what that looks like, man. It was just like this whole smiley fucking stab me shit.
Yeah, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Why
It was a weird. It took me one time to get used to that shit, and then I was used to it. But yeah, straight up.
That's funny. I never thought about that.
Yeah. Even I remember it was the day of the lockdown, and I'm like, fuck this lockdown shit. Me and my homeboy did ecstasy and walked down like Sunset, and we ended up like the only people out were like us, and then there was like a Mexican gang, and we got like followed by this Mexican gang, and they're like, "What's up, man? What's up? How you doing, man? You good?" Like, and they're doing like bird calls behind me. I had a fucking knife on me, whatever. Like, I'm like, all right, man. Like, someone's getting stabbed up in this bitch. Me or you? Like,
fucking it's a pandemic.
Yeah, fucking it's a pandemic. You're not gonna ruin my.
You should have been like, I had COVID, bitch.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm good, and I just kept walking and put my fucking hand there and like didn't let it ruin my goddamn fucking ecstasy.
I never experienced that that aggression. That's crazy.
I don't know. I got that face that like just people want to fucking fight me, dog. I got the fucking fight me face. I look like a pedophile or a fucking hate crime or some shit that's gonna happen. There's something in my eyes that fucking bums see it and they're ready to fucking fight. Like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, nothing, bum.
I'm going home, bum.
My problem is you shitting on the fucking sidewalk, but like, whatever. I'm not gonna fight you over the fucking shit. I'm gonna change things. Yeah.
But it's serious though, because I've seen it. Now I'm thinking about it. I was like, man, that motherfucker wanted to fight me. Like, going back to, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. There's been a lot of times where I remember there's one chick. I'd done my first movie. It was a B movie fest. It was with Corey Feldman, Todd Bridges, like every B movie person you can think of in the world. Todd Bridges, Scott Valentine, Nick from one of those Family Ties or some shit.
Yeah.
Tommy McLaurin, she was a soft porn actress, and Bob Zadar. And
who's Bob Zadar?
He's got that big square face. He was in Little Tokyo, Big Trouble in Little Tokyo.
Okay, yeah.
That was like his big movie, but he's
Big Trouble in Little China? Or?
Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, with Kurt Russell.
Damn, fucking classic.
Yeah. So he's got the dude bad guy with the square face.
Right.
So I go to the Rainbow Room with all these guys after, and I remember this chick came up to me and she's like, "You party?" I'm like, fuck yeah, party. I hadn't done a drug in my life. I'm like 25, but I had frat boy, did some frat boy partying. Like I was a rock star with the beer and the fucking. I was like, fuck yeah, party. She's like, where do you live? I was in Woodland Hills at the time. I was like, Woodland Hills. She's like, it's too far. And then I found out when I went back the next time, that's the first time I'd ever done coke. And when you see doors open immediately, like when you get into that party and shit, now you're, and now you drop the names I was hanging with, but like I just because I had it and I did it. But then I realized what she was asking me. I was like, fuck. Yeah.
If I got a son, I'm basically gonna turn him into Patrick Swayze. I'm gonna teach him how to fight. I'm gonna teach him how to dance, and then I was gonna make sure he leaves the house with coke on him at all fucking times, so he can get some fucking chicks. Those are my 3 things. Like
that shit's currency, bro. There's more than money. I didn't even need money. I just needed to have access to the dealer.
Bro, I was out in LA too, like 2000, 2001, seeing fucking little fucking trolls getting like the baddest bitches because they got coke on them, dog. Like it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. I had no idea that was all it took. And then all of a sudden,
out here there was a bit of a stigmatism attached to coke. That they would hide it. They would go to the people did it, but they do it in the bathroom, low key, shit like that.
We would make fun of people if you're doing heroin or coke or crack or
I think it was so closely tied to crack, and the epidemic was pretty big out here that coke was frowned upon. I'm a 70s baby.
You're 70, 74.
As are you. So, but I remember my first time seeing coke, I was like at some stripper's house. It was after we were at a party at like some hard to get in fucking place, and they like plated up the coke, and it was like right after 9/11, and I had to hear strippers talk about geopolitics, and I was like, I'll never do that fucking drug ever in my fucking life.
Yeah, I did it. I wasn't a fan. Like if I did anything ever, there was usually like women at the end, like women or money. Like there was something I was going to gain by doing whatever that drug was. At that MDMA was fun, but it was always pussy at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like there was always going to be something.
There was a reason for it.
There was a reason for it. Except that ketamine was the one thing where it's like I want to read. I remember the first time I had that out of body experience. I read the same book. It was a Michio Kaku. He's a theoretical physicist, and I read the book 3 times in one night.
I can't believe you can read on fucking ketamine.
I didn't go back. I didn't go back on it.
I can't even hit play on my fucking tape deck, dude. I'm fucking dumb as shit.
Man, so at the psychedelic dose, that's gone in like 20 minutes. And then I could go through my whole day. And I remember like going on walks with my son and shit. And I would see people's auras. Like that only happened one time where I saw people's auras. This biker had this big black cloud around him. It was fucking crazy. But I don't know. It did something to me. It opened up a new neural pathway. Is what happened.
That's what turned me on to ketamine myself. It was I was having a really hard time in New York, and I needed to find a drug that didn't make me want to kill myself or other people the next day.
Yeah.
And ketamine, unbeknownst to me, I ended up treating it for depression. But like this was
PTSD.
This is over a decade ago. So like I'm doing ketamine and actually like feeling fucking decent. And it's funny, like you say, like this. I remember we had this, we went out one night and like, we're going up to all these different bars and, you're waiting in line or you're trying, and like on ketamine, it like knocks you off your square. Like people will sit there and they'll look at the stars and be like, oh, we're so insignificant. Like ketamine, you feel that shit in your heart. Like the same way you feel love for your child. Like you can say, I love you, but like to feel it, you feel insignificant. And it was like, dog, we're sitting in line waiting to get into a box. Like the bar is just some box.
Yeah, a box.
I'm waiting in line.
Where you're gonna bitch anyway.
Yeah, I got some failed actor deciding whether or not I can go into a fucking box. Like, what the fuck are we doing, dude?
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, if I'm good enough to be in that box where people are gonna be bumping into me, I'm gonna wait in line for 2 hours for a drink, and then the chick's gonna turn me down anyway, and I'm gonna go home by myself pissed off.
Yeah, exactly. And then once you get in that box, you have to get past that rope to get in the VIP to show that you're really fucking cool. It's all these weird fucking things that don't mean anything really.
No, and that the ketamine does it. Like, so my life changed, and it's never been the same since. And so I didn't know what the fuck was going on with me. I had these patterns. I wouldn't drink anything. Like it wasn't. At a point as an adult when I had my son, it wasn't a normal part of life. I wasn't out partying and it just disappeared. but I would have these benders, like these, I didn't know what the fuck they were. They were so, it was like I was suicidal, but I didn't want to kill myself. I would go do suicidal shit.
Yeah.
So I'm checking out everything, 12-step groups.
Fatalistic, basically.
Like,
if I die, I die.
whatever. I was like, I was like testing whatever the fuck's up there. Like, come on, do so, you know what I mean? But so I was going into like 12-step group. Maybe I'm an alcoholic. Maybe I'm a drug addict. Maybe I would go Overeaters Anonymous. I was looking for something, and then but there's nothing out here in Western medicine. It was like they give me these tests. Maybe you're bipolar. Take this. Maybe I'm not taking shit. If you tell me what the fuck I am.
And
so,
like, what's normal if I have to eat this every single day to be
I
normal?
take myself to that.
Yeah, it's like I don't like fuck. That's not normal. If I'm dependent on this shit every fucking day to be able to face life, like I don't want it. I'd rather do it at the end of the day and blow off steam, dude.
And thank God I did, because I said I'm gonna figure this out one way or the other. And I read this medical journal. I hated ketamine, fucking hated it, because when I did it, it was a club drug. And you do little bumps and you feel like, oh, floaty and shit. And but I was always carrying shit with me, and I couldn't control, like I might get robbed and cops might see me. So I was like, fuck that shit, stupid. I was in Texas one time down in Houston, and I had a bunch with me for no reason. I was down there waiting on I was gonna do a weed run back to Michigan, and my boy's like, here, do this while you wait. So I did a big ass line while I'm in the hotel by myself. I was writing The End of Life Goes On, actually. And it hit me, like, and I had this moment of clarity, like you said, like I just knew everything, and I didn't have any questions, like everything just. Like everything, I felt connected to everything, and everything was connected to me. I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, it's great for depression. It really gets me cleaning my house. I'm over here.
I
started taking out the trash. I'd be out there in LA. I'd be out there watering my flowers at fucking 11 at night. Fucking robe, like,
There ain't nothing else that does that. Like, there's no other drug that they banned out there that makes you want to be better or more connected to your environment.
It actually helps with depression. It really does. I remember I fired my because out in LA everybody has a maid. It's so weird. It's like it's such a, like, LA is such a fucking, it's not even a slice of reality, you know what I mean? It's like, so like they're like, oh, you need to get a maid. Everyone's got a maid. I was like, all right, fuck it, I don't have cable, I'll get a fucking maid. And so like I got one. She fucking sucked. And then I started cleaning, and I'm like, this is like this ritual that we've been doing for thousands of years, is cleaning up after ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, and you like, how many of y'all cats have like reached this level of zen where you're fucking doing the dishes, or you're washing your ass, or you're fucking just doing shit? You just reach this level where you're fucking, boom, shit's coming to
that
you.
meditative moment.
You get that meditative moment by doing something that we've been connected, that's been going on for thousands of years. So I stopped doing that. I do ketamine and clean the fucking house and like have deep thoughts, and it was fucking dope, man. It was really cool.
We're not endorsing that you go out and you get you find somebody selling this shit and you
no.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing, but All right, we're back. All right. So because it's not that good on the street. They can cut it with shit. You know what I mean? But it is legal now. You can seek it out. You can get it through therapy.
You can go to the doctor and get that shit.
Man, it changed me. Like, so I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I read this medical journal after that time in Houston, because I experienced something. I didn't know what it was, and I wanted it back. So I started reading, and then I stumbled onto this doctor out in England, and I started watching these YouTube videos. They were putting people on 5-day ketamine comas, and with chronic pain disorders or heroin addiction. They came out and they're reset. The chronic pain disorder people are walking. They were in wheelchairs before with no. Like, what the fuck is this? So I was opposed to needles because I didn't like them. You know what I mean? But I had taken steroids in college.
It's such a negative connotation of associated with needles too.
It's all doping shit. But I mean, I won't put anything in my veins. So I'm scared of that shit. Like, I ain't a medical professional. But
You're
But I
supposed
had
to do
done
that shit intermuscular anyway.
It is intermuscular.
Yeah.
Well, you can do it. I knew a guy that walked around with a drip. He had a real problem, but
Yeah, I was gonna say.
he got a real fucking
If
problem.
you're smart, you can do it with a drip, but I'm
Yeah.
not smart enough to be fucking mainlining that shit, bro.
No, I remember going by this guy's house. You might even know him. It was Better Days, like back in the fucking day.
Yeah,
It is
Better Days. Fucking throwback to the Detroit parties, the after hour parties.
You probably do know this dude, but yeah. So I went over there one day. He had fallen through his glass table.
Damn.
With his drip on and shit, and,
Wow.
it was bad. But like, there's no point, because I had the intravenous happen on accident, like I hit a vein, you're just out. You know, there ain't no fun. You don't get to contemplate nothing. You're just fucking gone.
Yeah.
But I had done steroids in college, so I was like, well, I can do that. Right. And then I did it exactly like they prescribed it, and then I went there. So I had this out of body experience. I just put my son down for a nap, so I was going to go into my meditation. And I remember stepping outside my body. I was on the couch, and this whatever part of me was out here standing over my son's high chair. And I looked at myself. I said, "You're an asshole," but it was like loving, real loving, not judgmental. Yeah, you got to change things. That was it. And then when I came out, I just knew I had to change shit. I didn't know what it was, but you talked about that love. So what it had done, I kept getting this feeling from my son that I was resistant to. Didn't know what the fuck that shit was. I had no idea what. Yeah, but I kept running to it, like, even though there was a resistance. And this is all hindsight, 2020 and years of therapy. But what had happened is that was the first time I felt unconditional love. That neural pathway got opened up through that experience, and it never changed. Like, so from that point forward, I would have had to go into, I would have had to addict myself to something, some kind of compulsion to not know that experience. Right. Never changed, and I've just known that I got to be better. So from that point forward, the work got harder. It's not like I had a come to Jesus moment and everything was fucking kumbaya. Right. Like, the work got harder because I was still very conditioned to be what I was, but like, there was a drive in me now to be better. And it was from that. Like, ketamine saved my life. And these motherfuckers had it banned. You know what I mean? Like,
well, now that they can make money off of it, it's no longer banned. So there you go.
Yeah, and it's the only one that psilocybin's starting to come out too, but they can't put a patent on that shit. Yeah. So they're really pushing the ketamine now, which is good. Like, fuck it. However it has to work it.
That's how it goes. Yeah, it's helped me. I mean, honestly, I was able to write 2 fucking books on ketamine.
Well, I mean,
heavy duty. Like, I was doing a gram a day. I was doing a gram a day, fucking, and I wrote 2 books on ketamine, like, fucking gone.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, even like the hyena, the first book, like, the first story I wrote it while going through a PCP overdose, like.
The fuck out of here.
Yeah, dog. Like, wrote it through a PCP overdose, and then went back and edited it a bit more.
Oh, you gotta edit.
Yeah, you gotta edit.
You gotta fucking edit.
I got it down while I was going off of PCP, which is another disassociative. It's just a dirty, grimier disassociative. So
PCP.
Yeah.
I've never done it.
I don't suggest you do.
Yeah.
It's like fucking, like, picture like ketamine, but shittier and with a cup of coffee attached to it.
You know what? Man, I think I did do it. Somebody sold it to me as ketamine, but it makes you real fucking, like, my nerves were fucked up.
Yeah, you're all amped and shit. Yeah. Like, that's why graffiti writers like it. You're outside of yourself.
That's why they're like,
you're climbing on top of some shit. Yeah.
You good?
Good, bro. What's up, man? You good? Yeah, what's up? What's up, son? You good? Yeah, you all right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine, bro. All right, good. Yeah, I got out of that one. I've been able to get out of fucking, like, I've never been much of a fighter, so I've always been able to fucking talk my way out of things without going out like a bitch and just fucking.
And this story about the dude walking up to you on the hunt for what's the chick's name? The Mexican guy, while her boyfriend walked up to you. He said,
"Oh, bro, yeah. This chick hit me up for a date. She hit me up on, like, Instagram or one of them shits. And I don't know if she's got a man. She's telling me she broke up with his ass. And I give her my motherfucking address. She types it into Google, leaves it saved there. I don't know any of this. We go out on the date, come back. There's some fucking Mexican dude fucking yelling at her. I'm thinking he's drunk. I don't know what the fuck is going on. And he's like, oh, that's what's up, da da da, blah, 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 saying, talking all this shit to her and like kind of saying some shit to me. I'm like, yo, this dude's drunk. Like, let's just get the fuck away from him and go inside. And she was like, that was my man after he had left. I'm glad, which I'm glad because it's like, that would have been one where you gotta fight.
You gotta fight, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you're running up on my fucking home, dude. Like, so she told me after the fact, I had to suck my dick just on GP. Like, fuck that shit. It was blowing me. And I kept it moving, but like, yeah, that was a weird one, man. I thought it was my neighbor. I was like, my neighbor's drunk as fuck.
No, that shit helps you. And you had the other one too with what's her name, Becky? He's like, he kept saying, you know who I am? Or you kept asking about the girl. You're like, are you talking about?
Oh yeah, the girl that I tried to holler at, and I like me and this dude had words on the phone.
On the phone, yeah.
He was like roughing her up, and I'm thinking I'm like being like some fucking Captain Sable ho.
Yeah,
fucking dude.
That's the one.
And
you didn't know who he was talking about.
Then he ran up on me in the street, and I didn't know who the fuck the dude was. And he's like, I've been waiting my whole life to see you. And I'm like, really? You want my autograph? And it was like, no, fool. It's like, no, don't you ever talk to such and such again. And I was like, yo, I fucking stopped talking to her. Like, I wrote, I was like, it was like getting fired from a job I quit 6 months ago, basically.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I can't, I was too high strung to get out of shit like that. Like, I thought everybody wanted to kill me. Right. Even if they didn't, like, that's just how I was wired. Like, hyper vigilant as fuck. So if you got within a certain amount of space, I learned how to hit precisely. Like, because if somebody got too close, it wasn't that I was a badass. Like, deep down, I was a scared little bitch. You know what I mean? So
it's like Mike Tyson was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he talked like, when he talks, I'm like, yeah, that's real shit. I know what that feels like.
And my shit was, I was a late bloomer, so like I was scrappy as hell, and then everybody went through fucking puberty, and I didn't go through puberty until I was 15. So like I'm a 12-year-old dealing with like grown ass, like dudes that are men. You know what I mean? So that's when I had to shift, like getting in fist fights to fucking talking my way out of things, and it turned out to be like I'm fine. You know what I mean?
It's better. It's better to be.
Especially now, we're like adults. Like
it's so stupid.
When you see like grown ass men fucking like doing like fisticuff shit, you're like, fuck it, like, bro,
you gonna take this outside?
You're 42 years old, bro. Like, fucking, like, figure out a better way.
I go back to because I went Detroit, and then it was around sixth grade is when I moved to Hazel Park. Still Detroit, just white. You know what I mean? We're right across the border, so it's just white.
They call it Hazel Tucky for people that don't know, because so many people from the South came up to work there, and it was just like broke motherfucking.
But auto workers for the most part, or you know what I mean, and poor. Like but I was even poor for white people. Definitely white people standards, but even poor white people standards. We were poor as fuck.
Even white trash was like, damn, this motherfucker.
Look at those floods. I didn't even know what a flood was till I moved to the suburbs. I was like
making fun of your tracks and shit.
Yeah. I remember kicking somebody. I had these fucking pro wings.
Yeah, the
rubber as fuck, freezing. This dude made fun of my pro wings, and I remember because I had a little karate in me. My dad. So that's one good thing he did, is he taught me how to fight. I remember kicking this motherfucker in his ribs and knocked him out. He dropped to the ground, so I kicked him with some hard ass pro wings right to the side. Like, take those pro wings, bitch. I got Velcro.
Fucking ski boots.
As I remember, they were fucking fat as fuck.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, that was the motherfucker. I was lucky enough. I had the tracks and all that. I remember I wanted a new pair of shoes one time, and my mom just painted she just spray painted my old shoes. She sent me to school, and I got fucking blazed. Yeah, she spray painted them orange. They're like, what happened? You was kicking pumpkins? Like, they was fucking roasted me at first grade.
That shit kills you too.
Oh yeah, when you're a kid. And then I was able to get like nicer shoes, but then I couldn't replace them. So you wear them bitches until they're talking, and them motherfuckers are having conversations.
You got glue out, I still got some time on these motherfuckers. Super gluing them.
The front's blown the fuck out. You've been wearing them for fucking 50 days straight. They smell like fucking just shit. Yeah, it's and my dad moved us to Rochester, and he put us in. He got a 1-bedroom apartment, and me and my sister each had a closet that we put a mattress in, and that was our bedroom, just so that we could go to a good school district. He thought he found education to be important, but like it was that, like when you're around poor people, you're like, okay, I'm poor, like, but then when then when they put me in Rochester, it was like, you're a fucking broke, dude.
Yeah.
And then the way people look at you on top of
They
it.
make you feel real bad about that
Oh,
shit.
dog, yeah. Then, like, I'd have friends and no one would come to my house, you know what I mean? Like that type of shit.
Yeah.
Or even go to their house and like, you take off your shoes and leave them outside because, you know, they smell so bad. You just feel like the real dirt kid. And
I know that. Yeah.
they don't hide their contempt for you either, or their parents.
No, and that's the fucked up part. It comes from somewhere. Like you know, kids are kids, and they're gonna say that. And like I always wish I had the wit that I had back then. Like, why are you bragging about your parents' money? You didn't make shit, bitch.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like I would have had some snappier comebacks.
Came out of the right pussy, dog. That was it, man. It's luck and birth, all this shit.
Yeah. But you know what though? Like, because my kids don't have to want. They never have to want. They don't know what that feels like. My son just tried to commit suicide. Like he just got out of the hospital on Monday, and that's part of the reason I'm talking to Alicia. You know, it is about this shit. So like, society's a motherfucker. You know what I mean? That's why where I got this whole pop culture dilemma type thing is like the shit that the box that they put people into, and then they say that this is what life is. This is what life is. This is how you have to be. If you're not that, something's wrong with you. Yeah. And that trickles down from the kids. Like I said, until there was something beautiful about being poor, because we didn't really think racism. Like I thought because I was singled out as a white kid in Detroit that that was racist. When I got to Hazel Park, I saw what real racism was. There was some hate in those mothers, not everybody, but there were some people that just really thought they were superior because they were white. And I got to, but there was no black kids really. We were all poor. We were all kind of fighting the same battle. We would call each other out of name, you know. We would try N-bomb, fucking honky, whatever. If it was time to throw hands, there were no holds barred. Right. But there was no real meaning behind it. Like
you don't feel like you were singled out because you were white.
I was, but not only
single. I said that's not racist. Son.
Well, it's not racist because there wasn't a real hatred to it. It was like being singled out because you're fat. You know what I mean? It was the same kind of shit. It was like
well, one could argue the same point on the other shit too. Like,
well, there's another thing called chubbies. You know,
I mean, like, I don't know. I had black friends that I was their only white fucking friend. They wouldn't say I was white, they'd say I was Italian. And then I would watch them go beat up other fucking target white people and beat them up.
No, that
that's racist.
Yeah, well, you see, that's a fucked up thing. Is that's what I would think racist is too. And there's a fucked up there's no real clear definition. Well, there's clear definitions of racism, but they don't merge. Like, so for me, I always thought it was an individual act. And I still believe that it can be carried out individually in a hateful manner. And the first time I ever got acclimated to this other definition, which is systemic racism, which makes more sense, is I was on one of my feeds, and we had this dialogue going back and forth, and this woman that's in this group I'm in, Act Now, she said something to one of the guys in there. She said, "Well, black people can't be racist."
I disagree.
Well, here's the thing. They had no power. And I was like, that's right. I said the same thing. I said, I disagree with that because I know racist black people, but it depends on the definition you're using of what racism is. So if racism is a system, here's how she explained it to me in her training. Racism is a system like communism, socialism. Well, that's a whole different fucking thing than what most people know racism as. Like, to me, it was always an overt act of superiority against another race because of their color, right? And that could be carried out by any color. Like, I knew a lot of Mexicans that hated black people. I know Chaldeans that hate white people. You know what I mean? Like,
like no one likes anybody, basically.
You know what I mean? So I always thought, you know, so it's so fucked up. That's why I thought systemic racism. Like, I can see how the remnants of racism in a system can happen. But if you're calling racism a system as a whole, well, then that's why everybody's fucking confused about
I just go by the fucking the dictionary, and I don't allow like in the old school dictionary term.
So I started doing the same shit. So I started seeing there's different definitions. So
yeah, they changed the definition.
Yeah. And so I'm like, this is confusing as shit.
To me, it's really patronizing, and I hold everybody at the same standard. That's basically it. Well, we can disagree on this one.
Well, what it is trauma. Like, what it is, it's all it is trauma. So that's in the group that I'm in, Act Now. Is there systemic racism? Yes, because the country's never known anything but black people as property. So it exists. You can't say that those remnants aren't there. You know what I mean? Have the rules been changed? Absolutely. Rules have been changed. Playing field was never adjusted.
When did you get here? When did your people get here?
Well, my people, I'm Sicilian, so I mean,
Alright,
fuck.
so you got here post all of this shit.
Yeah, it was 1940s maybe.
Okay.
Yeah,
So they got here after all of that shit.
yeah, but what's that got to do with?
So how would they know black people as property if they weren't a part of that?
I'm talking about the system that's in place. Like, you know, from day one, Hitler got his method of racism.
I don't want to talk about race, so honestly.
No, but that's,
Like, yeah,
but it's a good conversation though, you know what I mean? Because we're just talking definition and shit, and how it's confusing.
Well, yeah, I'm just going with the old definition, that therefore that allows everybody to be held to the same.
Standard of what's racist and what's not.
And to me, that's fairness.
I believe that. Like, I believe if you think you're superior to another race, or you pull out a hate crime, or that you should be held accountable in the same way. Like, I believe that too. I'm just talking about the systemic racism thing. It's confusing, but at the end of the day, all it is trauma. Because I can,
Maybe it's confusing because it's convoluted.
it is convoluted, and there's agendas.
Maybe it's convoluted because they're coming up with bullshit.
There's agendas. That's the thing. You got these power structures that are fucking pushing agendas,
Yeah,
and it's dividing people. You know,
and that's the thing. It's divide and conquer. You got poverty camps out here trying to they're not trying to fix the problem, because if they fix the problem, they can't get paid off the problem.
right, and that's the problem we got. That's that we the people shit we were talking about. It's like, no, there's a power structure, and it had nothing to do with race. But they're going to keep playing what they can play for as long as they can. Because if we come together, if we ever come together, that power structure's fucked. There's way more of us than there are of them. You know,
Yeah, that's true. But like the thing is like we can't get out of our own ways. And the thing is this is like, look, man, I view everybody equal. I hold everybody the same standards. If someone is a fucking racist to me, I don't care what fucking color they are, they're fucking racist.
Yeah.
I don't care about history. And not and it comes down to the individual. Everybody's had separate fucking experiences. Like,
then that's the whole fucking thing right there. You just said the biggest truth, and this is why we can't get out of our own way, because we get stuck in our own experience. So, like, I know there was a time in my life where I couldn't even hear racism because it didn't exist to me. So I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
right.
Because I wasn't, you know, I was in that kumbaya actor, we all love each other shit out in LA. When I moved from here, and it wasn't even an afterthought. And I was real selfish because I was still trying to get out of poverty. So I had tunnel vision. I wasn't thinking about nothing else or nobody else.
You're trying to hustle, get the fuck
survival.
Yeah.
So I couldn't hear anything and now I'm in a place where, and this goes back to my son, where I realized that I'll never live somebody else's experience. So I'm going to listen. I'm not going to reject what you're saying, even though your definition might not make sense. Like, I'm in a place now where I can get, because I'll go into that fight or flight mechanism and I can't hear you. But now I can hear people, and I don't always agree, but I can at least listen and try to understand it, because I know that maybe there's something there that I didn't live that I'll never be able to put in a percent. Like, I don't know what it is.
That's the same thing too, is like, no one's lived your shit either. No
Right.
one's lived my shit either. Like, so
I can relate, but I didn't live it.
So to project something on somebody is
Your experience is what they do.
Is unfair. So I just try to allow people to behave the way they're going to behave. And I judge them on how the fuck the actions that they do. Like, that's how I fucking do it. And like, to me, we're all fucking equal. I hold everybody the same fucking standards. And that's fucking.
Now what if everybody did that? You know what I mean? Like, what if everybody said, you know what, we're all equal, and it was really we got to say fuck that power structure first. Like, if we don't come together on that shit, and they got us tricked, you know, and
yeah, we're arguing over, we're fighting over crumbs while they're eating the whole cake,
and
wag the dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's just wag the dog shit, all of this stuff. So it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just trying to find happiness throughout all of this, and trying to find meaning in your life throughout all of this. And to me, I think meaning comes from being creative and creating creating life. That's what we're here for. You find meaning.
You're purposeful. You know what I mean? Like when I don't need anybody to know me for shit. When I sit, so when my son had his experience and I was able to step out of my own, because at first, you know, I love him, so I don't want him to feel that. So I wasn't really listening to what he was saying because I'm thinking, but you didn't have to go through my experience. You know, I've done all these things. I was thinking me. Yeah. And then there was a point where I snapped and I'm like, he's got a different experience. Yeah. He's in social media. He's got fuckers at him 24 hours a day. I better just listen to what he's saying because fuck my experience. It's not relevant right now. And what I've done for him doesn't matter right now because he's going through it. So listen right the fuck now. And that changed me.
That's the other thing too. It's like, it's really hard to judge this younger generation because you and I didn't grow up with a phone in our pocket that's constantly indoctrinating us, constantly selling us things, constantly planning ideas.
Tell us we ain't good enough.
Yeah, constantly having you compare yourself to other people, being attacked by people. Everyone's brave behind the computer screen. Like you got these constant things. I think honestly, I think the worst thing you can give your kid is a fucking iPhone or anything like that. Like, there's a reason why Steve Jobs wouldn't let his kids have fucking iPads. Like, when the guy that invents the shit won't fucking let their kids do it, pay attention.
Pay attention to that shit.
Like the guy that did the microwave wouldn't use the microwave. Pay attention to that shit. Like, there's reasons behind that shit. So, like, I feel for these kids growing up. I do. And it's like, look, if I was a product of that same generation, I don't think I'd be much different. But I'm just a product of a different generation.
I wouldn't be here. I mean, the shit that I learned, I don't know, because I didn't live it. So maybe I'd be different. Maybe I would have held myself accountable, or maybe I would have off myself. You know what I mean? Like the craziest part was being at the hospital after he made the attempt the first time. He couldn't get a fucking bed. This pandemic has really fucked kids up. And I wasn't listening because to me, we've learned the process through, well, this is fucked up, but we'll make it, we'll be all right. When you're a kid, I remember a girl would say some fucked up shit and I just don't want to be here. And you meant it in that moment. Like or my shoes are fucked up and people are making fun of me. I just don't want to be here.
Teenagers genuinely feel deeper than we do. Like
and right then, like that's like everything right now.
Their pain is deeper than us. Their feelings, like it's like they're hardwired to feel deeper than we do as adults. Like it's so a small slight to you and just a giant slight to fucking.
It's all or nothing.
And kids are awful. Like chicks. Like people are always like, oh, dudes are fucking mean. Like a chick will fucking invite you to a party and then tell everybody else to not talk to you. Like they'll do some shit that will fucking break your brain for fucking years.
Get you in that closet on that kissing game and fuck your whole life up with a fucking dog or something.
Don't let anyone kiss. We're gonna all do the kissing game, but no one kiss Carmen and no one talk to her. And if she talks to you, ignore her. Like, and Carmen's gonna be in fucking therapy for
the rest of her life over there. So kissing game.
Shit, dudes will just beat you up. You know what I mean? Like, I'll just beat you up, like get you jumped or some shit like that. Chicks are fucking like, whoa, dude. Like, I don't even want to fuck with them, man.
That's true. In other words, look, there's biological differences. So after me and my ex broke up, my kid's mom, I've had 3 girlfriends since then. One had a son, and they got along. Like my son and my daughter, they all got along. They all dug each other, and it was cool. That addition. So the next one, she had a daughter, and they were fucking vicious. Like my daughter doesn't have a mean bone in her body, but she had one. When this other girl came into her space, the shit that they would say and the way they would act towards each other was fucking mean. I'm like, how the fuck if guys acted like that towards each other, we'd all be dead. Like, we wouldn't take that shit. We'd be killing each other left and right. The shit that they do to get under each other's skin, the catty shit. And I think she wouldn't talk that. She was around her brother her entire life.
Well, look, man, my theory is look, women are smaller than men, but you need to have them, like, in a couple situation, like, you need to have men do what you need them to do, so they come up with different ways. Like, maybe they like a shirt, so they'll give you a blowjob every time you wear the shirt, and then the back of it, and you don't know, the next thing you know, you're wearing the shirt all the fucking time. Like, chicks will come up with ways to finesse your ass into doing things, while dudes are a bit more direct about shit.
It's true, yeah.
And it comes out, dog, like, and it's fucking, like, when it's turned bad, it is fucking vicious, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's fucking sad. Like, I've seen chicks do some savage fucking shit. I've seen dudes do savage shit too, but it's in a different way.
Because the woman, and we're, you know, generalizing, but from my experience, they won't tell anybody about it. Like, they'll do some fucked up shit and then maybe tell one person or nobody ever.
Right.
Like, or it just comes out in therapy that what? You know what I mean? Like,
we did that too. Yeah, straight up.
We gotta tell somebody something. If we do some shit and we're laughing about it and it's sad, or even if we do some fucked up shit and it's bad, we're telling one of our boys or somebody.
Yeah, like, we're 70s babies, like, chicks would call up their homegirl on three-way, have the other homegirl on silent, and then make you talk shit about her, and then the next day at school, you're ostracized from the whole fucking clique. Dudes didn't do that shit, and if you did, you was bitch made, man. You was on some bitch shit.
I remember that three-way fucking shit. That was a caller ID was a motherfucker.
Yeah, all of that, man. Yeah, there was just all these different ways, and the technology has gotten better to fuck people over. So, like, it's changed.
But my kids will try to go call up the bars and do those Simpson pranks. I'm like, they don't work anymore, man. They know the fuck's calling. You can't do
the
that.
refrigerator running. They're like, we're like, Tim, we know this is good.
Is it? I got your number. I know where you live. I see your house right there. It's on my phone.
Straight up, yeah. The only phone numbers they get through are the ones trying to fucking get me to redo my lease. your auto lease is coming up.
I get the fucking
shit. Yeah.
What's the car warranty?
Yeah, the car warranty. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah, your warranty's coming up. I'm like, yo, it's been up for fucking 8 years, bro. Like,
they get through that robocall, because usually iPhones will say scam. Sometimes they don't. I'm like, how'd you get through the scam shit, you motherfucker?
I just asked for dick pics. I remember there was a scam that they were running. It was a lot of Mexican gangs, and it was coming out of a lot of Latin cats was doing it, and they would fake kidnappings.
What?
Yeah, so I got a phone, like, I was in a meeting about one of my books, trying to get it turned into a show, and in the middle of the meeting, somebody was like, called the girl and was like, your brother got in a car accident. He's knocked out. He's in our car right now, and we need such and such money to get it.
That's
like, we had to use my phone to call her girl, the brother's girlfriend, and the whole nine. So I've seen the shit, and I get a fucking phone call, and I hear this high ass voice. I got a daughter, and she's like, man, and it hops on, and it's like this cholo, and he's like, look, bro, we got your daughter, man. And like, basically, we didn't do anything to her yet.
Basically,
but like, if you don't give us some money, like, we're gonna fuck her up, and And I was just like, suck my fucking dick, and hung up. And my homeboy was like, are you crazy? They got your kid. I was like, nah, dude, it's a scam. It's been going on.
I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, dog. Yeah, it was bad about 2 years ago, bro. It was bad
shit.
like 2 years ago. My homegirl's grandma got finessed for some dough out of that shit.
No shit.
Yeah. They kidnapped your kid. We need this money. They keep you on the phone the whole time, and you're wiring fucking dough all over the fucking place.
It's fucked up, but that's smart. You know, that was a good one.
Yeah, well played. I actually got scammed too before. I was buying the dick pills overseas from India. Someone hacked one of my dick pill accounts, asked for money, and they're like, "Oh, it's not going through. Well, you just buy some iTunes gift cards." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Like, I can't tell the difference between these Indian voices and shit. I can't remember the shit. I'm so high on drugs half the fucking time. And sure enough, yeah, they got me for like $300. Like, fucking
more power to them.
Yeah, well played, guy in India. That $300 gonna go far. You're still shitting in the streets, but whatever. Fuck you. Yeah.
I got these motherfuckers. They sent me a check. Told me deposit the check. I didn't read anything because I thought it was royalties. So you get mailbox money sometimes. was like $1,400. I took it to the bank, deposited the shit. Didn't think nothing of it. And it was, I don't know how much longer it was, but I started getting these fucking fees from the bank. I'm like, what the fuck? That the check bounced. I was supposed to, I didn't know this because I didn't read the shit. I just thought I was getting paid for something. I was supposed to go to a fucking Walmart, spend X amount of dollars and on three different things, and then wire, or not wire, but
Western Union.
Western Union, fucking $900, because I guess that's where you don't have to put a name.
Yeah.
They get motherfuckers like that. Like I just deposited the shit. I thought it was mine, but they kind of got me because I bought something stupid. I was like, oh, and I fucking whatever.
I know it's funny. Like, look, you get got once, that's good. You keep getting got, then
That's your fault.
Yeah, you're a problem.
Shit. So I want to get back into to Hummingbird. So you got the release. You got the book's re-release with a new story. What inspired the story?
I had it originally. My dad really pushed back on it, and my dad's crazy. I always say like that Me Too shit, it doesn't work because the guys that are Me Tooing chicks are so fucking far gone. They're so far gone that a hashtag's not going to stop anything. All it's going to do is like freak a guy like me out to like, I want to be afraid to have like rough sex with the chick. You know what I mean?
I want to go back to what you're saying, but I didn't believe anybody that was like, when Bill, I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? And then I live a different experience. Like I was stuck in my own experience, and I don't have that mechanism that would allow me to do that shit.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would a guy do that? Like, that's fucking stupid. And there is victim culture. Not everyone's a victim, but the ones who are victims get fucked by the ones who are out there saying they've been victimized.
Yeah.
So, but I couldn't, and then eventually I said, well, let me read into this, and I started reading shit that people were doing. I'm like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I wouldn't drag a dude. I didn't drag Cosby for the longest, and then I saw the interview, and when they asked him, I was like, that motherfucker did it. That's a raping ass motherfucker, and I'm not fucking getting his back anymore. But like, it's easy to fucking, like, it's easy to accuse of fucking anybody of
anything,
a dude of fucking anything, and you can't unring that bell. So I try to stay away from shit until I see some fucking evidence, and then
I just didn't believe it. It couldn't register because it was so far removed from what I would do. Like, and what you're saying about your dad, like if somebody's if they're that, they're that.
Yeah,
don't matter what you say.
Yeah. So anyway, so like I didn't put the story in the book because he was like super fucking pissed off about it. And I'm like, fine, I won't do it. And then he went and did some more fuck shit that like, I'm like, you didn't change. I'm not gonna protect your ass.
Not sugarcoating.
Yeah, I'm not gonna protect your ass. And I'm putting it back in the book. It took me longer to get the rights to my book back.
Yeah.
I didn't get paid off of this fucking book. Like everybody bought. Yeah, everybody bought it. And I didn't get what I was owed, and so I got the rights back, and I was like, I'm putting this back in there. Took forever to clear. My dad ended up dying, and it's out, but it was gonna come out whether or not he died.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those. It's a wild story where you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Right. There's a lot of that. But yeah.
And I wrote that story not for shock, but to try to paint a picture of like how I would like. This is like when you have somebody being exposed to these like being overly sexualized and like parents with no boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna produce somebody like myself that has weird sex, like a weird attachment to sex.
Yeah.
And that's all I was trying to do was explain that shit,
and
like how to make a monster.
And somebody would judge. Well, number one, there was only one person on my shit that said it's all fake. I'm like, for me,
not a fucking word in there is fake, bro.
Well, for me, I've lived a lot of that shit. Not the exact. We got different experiences, but I went down. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember a lot similar.
Same block, different houses.
Yeah. You could read that and be like, he'd be dead by now. No, he wouldn't, because I did the same shit. You know what I mean? And I've been in those fucked up experiences, but that's where. So somebody who might talk shit about this as being too graphic or too whatever. Well, not everybody's gonna go read the fucking Bible. You know what I mean? People got to get to the better them by whatever means necessary, and that's why shit like this is necessary, because somebody's going to read this and they're going to say, and they're going to be able to look at your experience then and look at them now and be like, oh shit, I'm doing some of the same shit.
Well, someone's bugging back, like I hate to be a dick, but that just shows a lack of depth on their part. You know,
It's true. Well, it's true.
like it's like you like clearly you didn't read the subtext. And the other thing too is like I got wild ass fucking I got wild stories for days. I don't put in salacious stories just to put in salacious stories. I'm putting in stories that have deeper meanings to them.
It fits your through line. Like there's a point at the end.
Yeah,
There's
a
deeper,
deeper, it might be like me fucking like some, getting pissed on and fucking some wild chick, but like there's a deeper meaning to that shit.
And that's that pop. That's why it's perfect for that pop culture fucking dilemma. Is it keeps people in a box and it keeps them. You want to be like the next person. You don't want to be yourself. You don't want to have and then you start having these experiences because maybe you were a monster that was created, right? And now you hate yourself. And you go you get reclusive and you're dying on heroin or you're shooting your fucking self in the face or you're hanging yourself. Like all these, and it's,
or it's just death by other people. You're fucking starting fights in a liquor store over the dumbest shit. Now there's gunplay. You know what I mean? Like some people won't kill themselves, so they'll have someone else kill them.
That's the tangled web, man. It's like I didn't get out of my high school clique because I wasn't even I was always fucking alienated. But I knew how to fight, so that was good. So I would fuck you up, but I had to fight all the time, and I just got sick of it. I'm like, I don't want to fight anymore. Wound up going to juvie for 2 years, came back, and then my junior year I was fighting, and then finally I was like, let me see what these motherfuckers are doing that makes them cool. So I studied the shit, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it better, and I did it better. And I created this character, which is that dude in that movie, Life Goes On, created cool events. I fucking hated that dude. Like I hated everything he did and what he didn't stand for nothing. He was out there hustling drugs and fucking, and I hate. And that movie was I didn't even know I was doing this therapeutically. I was killing that persona, my persona that I created. I didn't know. A therapist told me, I'm like, oh shit, I broke my own. I was killing that part of me, and which I I fucking hated him. But I didn't know I hated him. That's what I was supposed to be, and that's why I went out to LA and pursued acting. Now I'm in Hollywood, being all fucking selfish. I didn't know anything but that. I just knew get out of poverty, get out of poverty, get out because it's gonna kill you. Because fucking, you know what I mean? That's like. Being in poverty is so fucking traumatic.
My exes had a real problem with that because it was like, I love you, but I'm not gonna let you get in the way of me not being broke. Like you're not gonna get in the way of my career. Like I love you, but you're not gonna get in the way of my career. And they always felt like they were second fiddle. It always made them feel insecure in that situation.
I know that.
And like looking back, I wish I would have handled it differently, but you handle things the best you can with the tools that you have at that time. That's it. That's
where I got to forgive my dad. Like it hit me up. I didn't want to be him, so I would deny I was him. But there's these little nuances that.
It's self-hate because you're half of him.
Half of it, right? And you won't admit it, so you get fragmented from yourself and everything else, and you just disassociate. I finally realized I'm like. My mom told me some shit about him being molested by his therapist. That's some shit. The shit they went through before us, motherfucker. Like I can't, and I felt sorry for him. I'm like, he really was trying. And I started remembering times where he's just trying to show me love. I was like, he was doing the best. He literally was doing the best he could with what he had. Because honestly, he didn't even have to be there at all. You know what I mean? At least he was there to beat my ass. You know what I mean? Like kind of. It's.
I know I was mentally abused by my father, but I'm grateful that he was there. It's the same deal, and it's like they're literally doing the best with the tools that they have. Another thing too is like people are having kids at an older age. Now, generally speaking, I had a kid at 18. I was doing me, but I look at my stepdad, and I used to fucking hate this fucking guy, but this guy was 22. Married a woman with 2 kids and a maniac ex-husband. Like shit, dude. Like, can you imagine a 22-year-old doing that shit now, man? Like that's a heavy load to carry.
I gotta send you this story, and it's gonna be in the book that I'm writing. But it's crazy how similar we're different experience, but similar. So my stepdad comes along, and I'm in Hazel Park at this time, and I'm fighting all the time, and he's real passive, Native American. He's a rock star. He's you know, they're starting to open for Poison and shit like that. Hair band, you know, Sponge, right?
Yeah.
So they used to come practice in my bedroom. They clear out the bedroom. We had a 2-bedroom house in Hazel Park, and our bedroom was the gig room. So they come clear the shit out, and he fell in love with my mom. And I rejected the fuck out of that because he didn't say the shit I needed out there, you know. So NWA became my father figure. You know what I mean? Gangster rap came out, and I was listening to that, and my friends in the street were my friends in the street.
Right.
And I rejected the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but really, when I go back and I look at anything that I do good now with my kids, that came from him. Like,
Isn't that something?
Yeah, stepdad married to two kids, fucking insane, fucking like that guy. He broke in and tried to kill my mom. I had to sneak out the window. My real dad had to sneak out the window, call 911 to get his ass arrested. Fucking crazy, like low level fucking mob enforcer type motherfucker, kills people.
Right.
I don't know how many. I don't know what the fuck, but I know people. My aunt got stabbed 37 times. Like that's the shit. She lived by my uncle, her husband. So like that's the cloth, right?
Right.
He came in and said fuck it, and then he quit the band because my mom, she got pregnant with she wasn't supposed to, she was barren, medically barren, but when I was 15, she got pregnant with my half sister, my sister. And my dad, I didn't know this, Vinny told me when I used some of his music and Life Goes On. He's like, do you know how your dad quit the band? I'm like, nah. He's like, we came into jam one day and he left his Marshall stack there. And then it's funny because they were a hair band, wrote in hot pink on his stack. I quit. He's like, that's the last we talked to him. Damn. And then they went on to do Sponge shit, but he quit to get into a chemical plant and raise my daughter.
Take care of the kids. I know it's crazy. Like, my dad would use me as
I've seen my daughter, I remember his daughter.
My dad would use me as basically as a bomb to go in and blow up the other household, you know what I mean? Because I lived a week at a time with each, which was dope, but it's like you're living out of a paper bag. And he would like talk that shit, send me in there. He got me to skip my mom's fucking wedding. You know? Yeah, you're not gonna go to that. He's not your dad. They're like, he's hyping me up. Like, and I just want to be, that's my dad. I'm in the 2nd grade. I love him. You know, I'm gonna ride with this dude. And I see these pictures and they still break my heart to this day, these wedding pictures. And my mom's sad because I'm not there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, that's fun to do that to a kid's spot.
It's, and it's like, and I forgive him. You know what I mean? Like I forgive him, and like he was where he was at. And actually, like after he died and going through his writing, it really gave me this empathy for him to see how his brain worked. And he was crazy. You know what I mean? Like he was fucking crazy. He was a crazy guy that was doing the best he could with what he fucking had. And, you know, like it was the same deal. He got the shit beat out of him as a fucking toddler. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna leave a mark. And then, you know, and then my grandfather, like, same, you know, he got the shit kicked out of him too. And like, there was a story I wrote that got cut out of Hyena when it got published by Simon & Schuster, but it was, they had a pet dog, they had chickens, the dog ate the chicken. My great grandfather comes home, hears about it, has a little fucking pasta, has some wine, and goes downstairs and just hacks the dog to death with a hatchet. You know, like, so like, that's my grandfather's dog. Like that's where he's coming from.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
it
it gives you perspective on like how cats were, how my dad is, how I am, and we're becoming more and more diluted as we go down and down. And hopefully you hold on. There was good qualities to them as well, like work hard, go get it, hustle, fucking no excuses, that type of shit. Like, and I try to keep that, but get rid of a lot of that violence and all that shit.
See, man, and that's the thing, is that people don't teach discernment. They teach judgment. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to look at where we come from and discern where the good and the bad lie, not judge. Because when you judge, you can't, you know, if everything's black and white, it's black and white. That means there has to be two sides. There can never be this middle ground, like in this two-party system. Fuck politics, but in this, like where we are right now, it's in racism. You can't see that we're pitting against it. Like, if there's got to be a middle ground, and that's where most humans live, is in that gray area. But pop culture, the status quo wants to make it black or white. Why? Because if it's black or white, the power structures can use that against you.
And it sells and the whole fucking, like everything, like shit's attached to fucking, and that's the thing, it's like, you know, the news, and they're quoting the news, and like, who owns the news? Like, who owns the news? Who's telling them what to say? Why is this being covered? Why is that not being covered?
Yeah,
like, it's not even what they tell you, it's also what they don't tell you. And I like work on the radio, and I've been told to not cover shit. You know what I mean? Like, by my bosses, like,
really?
Stay away from this, stay away from that, stay away from this, stay away from that. So if somebody as low level as me is being told these things, like
when you get when you're on Fox and NBC and all that.
Yeah, I remember the fucking chick on ABC, owned by Disney, Children Channel, had the fucking scoop on Weinstein years later, and they got her on a hot mic talking shit about fucking that. It's like, hey man, like maybe you shouldn't trust the trusted. That's the shit that blows my mind. All these punk rock motherfuckers, gangster rap motherfuckers, don't trust the system motherfuckers. And all they do is they go run to the news and wait to be told what to do instead of questioning what's going on.
I mean, you see a lot of like,
yeah, a lot of people do expose themselves for not being punk rock. It's like, you are not punk rock, dog. You are not raging against the machine.
No, you're in the machine. You're part of the machine.
You're waiting for the machine to tell you what to do, so you can be a cog in this bitch.
Yeah.
And look, I'm no better because I'm a part of the machine, and I put on my little fucking mask when I'm told to, and the whole fucking nine. But it's survival mode, dog. You know what I mean? Like it's literally survival mode, and just trying to find this thing really, that when it happened, the hardest thing for me to process is that, like, you're not as free as you think you are.
Yeah.
It was like, you think you're free? They just shut down fucking everything. They got curfews on stuff. You got to stay in the fucking house, and if you go somewhere, you got to put on this fucking thing for these fucking reasons, and then these people don't have to for those fucking reasons. It's just like,
And somebody's telling me.
yeah, and someone's telling you to. It's just like, and I really had to come to terms with, like, bro, you're not that free, and then you have to find joy within this life.
See, I fight, you know, and that's it. I may fail at this we the people shit, but I'm like, I can't, for my life, like I can't look if we wind up on food lines in 10 years,
Right.
I can't look my daughter in the eye and say I had an opportunity to maybe stop it, at least try, and I didn't do shit. Like, I'm at least going to tell the story of how I got arrested for, you know what I mean? Like I can't just lay down and take this shit. Like, my girl, she just got back from France yesterday, in the country. She said we think we got it bad. They're on fucking 6 p.m. curfew.
Even Canada is fucking out of control, dog.
I don't even know what they got going there,
bro. It's yeah, I don't even want to go into it. It's fucking, Google it. It's fucking crazy. But like, yeah, it's here, and here's the problem. Like, I'm there with you, but like, there's been so many times where, like, I'm at a job and we're complaining about some shit, and then we have a group meeting, and I stand up to fucking complain about it, and everybody I'm talking with,
it does nothing. It winds up hurting me.
No one says shit.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that's speaking up.
Yeah.
Everyone that had something to say is quiet, and now suddenly I'm working in the fucking attic on night shift with all the fucking weirdos. I thought I had a bad job before, now I'm in the fucking attic at the fucking factory. So I stopped speaking out against that shit. Even like, that's why I was like, bro, I don't want to talk about this or that, because it's like, what? I'm not going to change anyone's mind, and I'm going to alienate people.
Right.
Like all of y'all are going to believe whatever the fuck you gonna believe.
And there,
and like,
I don't do anything to change anyone's mind because I don't give a fuck. Like, one of the concepts in Buddhism that saved my fucking life was non-attachment. Yeah. I'm not attached to outcome. I'm gonna live in my truth, and I'm gonna do it. I don't go out picking fights with people and corporations either. You know what I mean? Like, it ain't gonna serve me, so fuck you. You know?
And what you're doing is brave, dog. It's very brave of you. And one might argue that I'm a coward, but it's like, look,
no, you do this. You know what I mean? Like, because honestly, you know, you could be much further up the corporate ladder if you didn't speak your mind. Like, if you didn't say the shit you say that's on your heart, because you do it, it comes out. With the Jenny Jones shit was fucking. I remember when you first started coming up through that, it was fucking hilarious. Because you were saying real shit to these motherfuckers. Right. Like, what everybody was thinking about, everybody on these fucking dumbass talk shows, you started saying that shit was fucking funny. And so they want real, but then they want to control real once real gets there.
They want real till they get real, and then they
gotta watch that
Then
shit.
they want Juno Diaz. You know what I mean? They don't fucking want no real shit. Like,
Yeah.
they want real till they get real. Then they're like, whoa, what the fuck is this? I'm like, that's what the fuck real is.
Yeah,
Real is painful, real is messy, real is dirty, real is fucked up, and real is beautiful.
and that's the thing is you gotta like, because I can talk real with real people. And we can have different experiences, we can disagree, and we don't have to fight each other. We can still love each other at the end and say, man, we can look at it and be like, yeah, that's fucked up. Yeah, that's fucked up. I don't agree, but okay. We don't have to. We can just talk. We can talk.
Yeah, it's really crazy. Like, I don't agree with most of my friends. You know what I mean? And like, they challenged the way I think, and at times I've changed positions because of that. And then other times it's made me fucking do research and fucking be like, no, you're extra wrong. And like, and here are the reasons why. Here are facts why you're extra wrong.
Don't you enjoy that? Like when you discover that you might have been wrong, they're like, oh shit, I'm wrong.
It's like it makes you change your shit. Like it, but so many people are locked in these echo chambers right now, and like they don't want to be around people that they disagree with, and there is no disagreement. Like there's been so many times where I fucking will ask a point, and instead of them addressing the point, I'm attacked.
Yeah.
I experience an ad hominem attack where like they're not addressing the point, they're attacking me as a person.
Yeah.
Instead of addressing the point.
Yep.
And it's just like I've gotten to the point where I stopped. Like I just stopped. I'm not changing minds. I like back to your whole thing about denial, like when confronted with the truth, a lot of people are going to react violently because they're going to have to change. They're living a lie.
It's their defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Like if they have to challenge their beliefs, it means they're bad, and it doesn't mean that. It doesn't. Like that's the thing is if in Act Now, like I love because I'd say we're predominantly black.
Yeah.
You know, but we're Renaissance unity, so we're all you know, thinking like Marianne Williamson's from there, Wayne Dyer, you know, it's all like higher consciousness, it's law of attraction type shit, talk the Bible, we talk metaphors of it, you know, that kind of thing. So we're in there and our conversation is there's racism, but what is it really? It's trauma. Like so even though I haven't lived the experience of a black man in America, I can empathize. I can listen to what you have to say. Like the one thing that shifted me in these conversations was our reverend. He's a corporate guy. Most of my black friends and my white friends, we're all criminals. You know what I mean? So when we said fuck the police, it had a whole different meaning.
Yeah.
So when he told me, at his age still, he's like, yeah, and he's like, I got harassed the other night. But he's like reaching over for my wallet is nerve-wracking. That's his experience, and I got to not live it, but understand his experience through him because of who he was, because I was listening. But like, I'll never live that. Like, and if I can understand that I'll never live that, and I can just listen and try to understand, then I can listen. You know, and nobody's ever going to live my experience. I'll never know what it's like to be a woman, being constantly fucking objectified, and you know, I'll never know that. But I can try to listen to the shit, you know, I can try to listen and understand. And people think that,
but let me push back on this. Like a lot of these women wouldn't even get in the fucking door of these places and have meetings if they weren't fucking women.
Well,
the guy didn't want to fucking. Like I wouldn't have an opportunity to talk to this guy that's objectifying her. And maybe my idea is better than her fucking idea, but I don't have a fucking pussy between my legs.
Well, there's that too.
So it's like there's give and take on fucking everything.
There's give and take on everything. Yes. And that's the thing is people live their experience, and that's it. That's it. That's the end of it right there. Their experience is the end of everything. There's nothing more to talk about. And it really comes down to the fact that if they have to challenge their experience through somebody else's ideas, they feel like they're shitty. You know what I mean? And that goes back to trauma. That's the monsters that are created in us. That's that pop culture bubble that we live in that says you have to be this way. If you're not this way, then you're bad.
Right.
So it's not that woman who's talking about her experience and can't listen to yours is a bad person, kind of like our parents. this is what they're stuck here. You know what I mean? So when we enact now, when we're talking about the trauma of racism, what we're really saying is, well, I know what it's like to be, I lived my entire life hypervigilant. So if you live in a country where, you know, the police are on you, or you know, you come from slave, a grandma ago, they were hanging motherfuckers in the South and burning churches, and you were allowed to do that shit. I look at the pictures of the kids standing in these circles of fucking black people hanging, looking up, and they're celebrating. I'm like, what the fuck? That traumatized. That's going to leave marks. So if you live in that country and you're hyper vigilant, well, I know what that feels like, but I don't know it from that. So if we can come to a point where we can say, I know how you feel.
One could argue that a middle class black person that is from the North didn't have that experience either, though.
Yeah, and I don't know that they did or not. I know it's less than down south. You know what I mean?
I mean, if you know, you come from a nuclear family, you're middle class, you're not from the fucking hood. The place where you're from didn't get bombed with fucking coke. Like, why do you get to claim that experience that you didn't go through?
Well, it's not that experience in particular. Like, so
like that's why I have a problem with painting whole fucking cultures with one experience. Like, each individual has a different experience.
Well, it's going back to my reverend. He has a completely different experience. He didn't grow up in the hood. You know what I mean? Like, he's a corporate guy, and he still had the experience of having to be. He's been harassed. You know what I mean? So
I've been harassed,
but it's a real thing.
Yeah, like cops harass people.
They do harass people.
Yeah,
and there's a problem in policing, right? I mean, we know that.
I've had my ass whipped by cops. And then I have people that have never had their ass kicked by cops.
I've committed crimes.
Trying to tell me about fucking, like, tell me about some shit that they never been through, that I have. And I'm like, one of us has been through this.
The other one hasn't.
Why are you speaking on it?
Yeah.
You got nothing to say, college boy. Like, miss me with that shit.
I can speak on my experience and say that I've been, you know, I was transporting lots of fucking drugs across the country to not be a starving artist.
Right.
And I've walked out of several experiences where I was able to talk about, I didn't get tatted up. I learned how to talk white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I knew I wanted to commit these crimes.
So you want to camouflage.
Yeah, so I said, I'm not going to go out there in uniform.
Yeah, if you want to be a drug dealer, the best thing to do is not look like a fucking drug dealer.
And learn how to talk. So I used that because I was never, there's white culture. But that's not a real race. Like you know where you come from. I'm Sicilian, you're Irish, whatever. So there's no lineage that was ever cut off. White culture was invented in opposition to black culture, and that was only invented because slaves were brought here. You know what I mean? So there was slavery, and they look different. You know what I mean? I don't think it was by design. I think it just happened, and then you know slavery was going on, and then in the New World they were cut off from that whole side. You couldn't run back to your homeland. You know what I mean? And there was just this contrast between black and white. So the capital, it's pretty, at the end of the day, it's this power structure that got real fucking greedy, and they capitalized on this slave trade. You know what I mean? So for there not to be remnants of that would be insane. Like I said, a grandma ago, there's
but not everybody black has been through that. And some black people might have been part of the slave trade because they're from Africa.
They might have been.
Like, so you put them in the same room and you're like, oh, they all been through the same thing. Like, no, they haven't. Like that guy just, his dad was from Nigeria and he's part white.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah.
He's like, and he lived in a white household.
That's what's
had a white experience until he goes outside and he has a black experience. So everybody has a different fucking.
Well, I'm lumped into white culture because I look white. I am white. You know what I mean? So I'm lumped into that culture from somebody else's perspective. I'm a white dude, clean cut white dude. Fucking, I remember the people. I'd be hanging out with like Hexon, and then the girls would be like, "Oh, Tom Cruise here." You know what I mean? Like, I'm Tom Cruise. Fucking, I brought 1,000 pounds a week here. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like it's the same deal with me. Like I come from my dad's first generation Italian, so I just have a different point of view than somebody that might have been here for fucking 200 years.
1600.
You know what I mean? Like I have a different point of view. I came up with immigrant. Like I came up around Italian immigrants.
Yeah.
Like, so like I just got a different point of view on shit. Yeah, I look pink as fuck, but like I talk with my hands and I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable in situations where everyone's yelling at each other.
That's dinner. That's Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's exactly. That's fucking Christmas got you, there was gonna be a fist fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
fucking, like, that's the way it
Every
fucking goes.
Christmas.
Like, and not everybody can say that. And the crazy shit is like, I remember it finally chilled out and like everybody's getting kind of old and chilled out and the kids are, and I remember like there wasn't a fist fight and I'm like, this is
It's fucking weird.
this is boring as fuck. Like, what the, like, I'm
Is
not,
somebody mad?
I'm not used to the non-chaos.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? I remember we were even after my nanny died, my grandmother died, we are trying to figure out how to make her pasta dish, and we're going back and forth. And my uncle's got some like new girlfriend, some white chick, and she an Italian, and we're talking about how to make the pasta, and she starts crying. And she's like, "Why are you fighting with each other on Christmas?" And she's like in tears. And we're looking at her like, "What? Fighting? Like, we just talking right now. Like, this is just us fucking this. We're trying to figure out how many fucking eggs to put in this fucking shit. Like, we're fucking talking about fighting, man. Like, miss us with this fucking weird woman."
But that's the truth though. Like, and it's difference in experience. Everybody thinks it's supposed to be the way that non-attachment. So that the root cause of all human suffering is attachment. Attachment to the ideas of how we think things should be. Most of those were programmed into us. Then we take on a role as a child, and we take that role into the real. Like me, at 8 years old, I had to be the overachiever, the protector of everything. You can't protect everything. You can't fucking do it. But that's where a lot of that leftist shit comes from, where you think I'm gonna save the world, when really it turns out
hubris too. The hubris behind it, to think that you can that you're gonna change some shit. Like, yo, dude, the world is gone, bro. It's like it's an ocean. Learn to surf. Like, that's it.
Well, you got to learn to surf, but you got to surf. You got to surf at your own. Like, so I can ride those tumultuous waves, even though things aren't going the way I want them to.
Right.
That doesn't mean I got to accept it at face value. Like, I can still live my truth at the top of that wave, and I might get killed up there, but I'm afloat on that bitch, and I'm gonna do it no matter how uncomfortable it is. If I get attached to this idea that it's supposed to be a certain way, that wave's gonna devastate the fuck out of me. And I'm gonna go into some kind of weirdness that fucking fucks everybody up, because no, it's supposed to be this way. You're supposed to be this way, and if you're not, fuck you. You're fucked up. And that's where it all comes from.
And to further to your point, to like put in a nice bow and shit, there is no should. There just is.
There just is, right?
There's no should. There's is.
And everybody's stuck on their fucking shoulds.
Yeah, you just deal with the is, and it makes things a lot easier for you to accept in life.
You can talk if there just is. Like, if there just is, we can have a conversation about what there is now, and we can talk about whether or not we like it. But if we get caught up on trying to villainize like all these things that we thought it should have been, well, you're stuck. Because if you got to villainize, that means there's energy. This is just basic physics. Negative plus negative is going to get you negative. So if you're out there thinking you got to use aggression to get your point across, all you're doing is fueling the fire. You're out there talking that dumb shit, fucking judging people, whatever. It doesn't matter what guise of virtue you're standing behind. Yeah, I can agree. Gay people should be able to get married. I don't give a fuck if you love each other, but if you're out there being militant about it, you're only fucking adding to the problem, even though your cause might be good. All you're doing is adding to it.
You're alienating people.
And it's negative plus negative equals negative. If we just talk pure physics, take the spirituality out of it, you're going to continue to get negative. How can you not? So the hard part is, well, I see this bullshit. Let me go ahead and post this this meme that said that's empowering. You know what I mean? Just little tiny shit we can put into the universe that I can do my part, for whatever that part is. You say that dumb shit, I'm gonna put this out here. I don't need to argue with you in particular. I don't give a fuck what you said, but I see you saying that. So let me put something oppositional to that out there, and just let it land somewhere who might want it,
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like, I'm the same but different. Like, I crack jokes that challenge the way you think. Like, that's it. You might not like it, but like, and a lot of times people will shut down. Like, they won't think. But like, a lot of the jokes I crack, some are like just bullshit, whatever jokes. And other jokes is like, yo, I'm pushing you to fucking think. I want you to think. Yeah,
and I see that. Like, I see some of it. I'm like, oh, but then I'm like, and I see what the fuck you're saying there without, but that's your brain. You're able, like, and it's almost like South Park guys. Like, these motherfuckers. There's a point. Like, it's genius. Like the way that they even fucking what's his name, the Family Guy. What's his name? So he's real smart, and he'll push that fucking envelope to where, but then there's motherfuckers that can't handle that, like that. They're not equipped to. Everyone's got an opinion. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but everyone's got an opinion, everyone's got a voice, but I don't think they deserve one. I think some people need to shut the fuck up and sit down and ride, just enjoy the fucking ride.
see, and some people should, I would say it a different way, because people should practice listening more, and that's what I'm trying to do
That's
now.
a nice way to put it. Yeah.
I'm wired to like I was always defending myself, and now I learned how to speak well, and I can throw some big words in your direction, and it might not mean fucking shit. I might be an asshole that's just fucking, you know, and I was back in the day, but and every day I have to remind myself, listen, with my son. Because I love him, I wanted to protect him. I didn't want him to think that he was different than anybody else. But I wasn't listening when he said something was going on in his brain.
Right.
No, that's you know, and my intent was good.
Right.
But I wasn't doing the right thing. Am I going to judge myself? No, I'm not going to judge myself. I'm just going to listen better. So if you're out, that's why I say, if you're out there and you're on one side or the other vehemently, you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? You're not discerning. You're fucking judging, and you're adding more bullshit into this fucking bullshit pot.
And the other thing too, man, like if you feel like you have an enemy, like wish them love, dog. Like you gotta wish them love, man. Like, and it's selfish shit. Like I'm constantly being fucking told on Instagram and shit like that, being harassed. I'm shadow banned all the fucking time. And like these people that do that to me, like I want them to be happy.
I hope you can find what you need to get better. I'm always saying that.
Exactly. Like and it's for my own selfish reasons, because if you're happy, you're not fucking with me. Like you're allowing me to live my life, and you're living your life, and we're all doing the best we can. Like, like I wish you happiness. Like I've had people that like don't like me, and I toast your happiness, man. I hope you find love. I hope that you're loved, and I want you to do well for yourself.
How do you think you got to that point? Like, because that's the point we need to get to. And we have similar upbringings, and we had different experiences, but somehow we got to the point to where we could say that shit, to where, and even if it is selfish, it's still selfless. Like there's no selfless really. It's self-full, because your happiness means I can be happy, means they can be happy, means we can all be happy.
I just don't want to be fucked with. And it was like there was this bitterness, and I'm like, this bitterness isn't getting me anywhere. So I've been, and I'm not gonna say it's gone, but like it's something that I'm working on getting rid of.
It's daily, ain't it? Like you notice it comes up.
It's working on getting rid of, and I find that like it's been over the last 5-10 years that I've had that growth, and I was lucky enough to have people like my grandmother in my life that really put me up on game and helped me along with things and helped me grow. And it's the same deal. Like, like if someone doesn't have the tools to behave the way you want them to behave, like it's ridiculous for you to get mad at them. You know what I mean? Like
help them,
or just let them be them and hope for the best. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like I'm not defending like motherfuckers are tickling kids' booties, you know, shit like that. But there's lines here, but like
you can't victimize people. Like that's the thing. It's like
I want to empower people.
Yeah,
and I want them to be happy. Like I want people to be happy. I want people to be empowered, and hopefully your happiness isn't dedicated, isn't like based on my being miserable. Yeah.
There's way too much of that, and the pop culture is built on that. There really is.
The problem too is like there's like a lot of these cats aren't finding meaning in life, so the meaning that they're finding is telling on people or canceling people. Instead of making something, they become critics of society.
And they want to shut shit down. They don't want to do anything positive. They want to shut shit down.
Go make something dope, dog. Go make something dope instead of like coming up with a new fucking gender to be. Like, go build something awesome instead of telling me and then like and market yourself in a cool way. That's the other thing that I'm seeing is like these people, even creatives, will cancel other people to further their fucking career. It's like, so it's like, come up with a cool way to market yourself where you're not fucking like murdering somebody else's. One thing I learned from this old dude is like, you don't fuck with people's money, man. Like, even if I don't like you, I don't agree with you, I'll never come after your money. I'm never.
That's how you support your family.
Yeah, exactly. I'm never gonna stop you from speaking. I'm never gonna try to quell your speech. I'm not gonna try to stop your fucking money. I'm gonna do my own fucking thing. I might block you so I don't have to hear you because you don't. Not everybody deserves.
And I might argue, maybe.
Yeah, we might argue, but even that, like, you know, what is it like? Arguing with a fool, you can't tell who's dumb from far away. You know what I'm saying? Like that saying, but like, so it's like, even the arguments, like, it's
even that's better than shutting someone down, though. Like, you know, like,
yeah.
You just want to not have them speak.
Yeah, motherfucker, like, you got celebrities getting people fucking kicked off of Twitter. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, where are you from, man? Like,
well, you're on Twitter too. Just say something in opposition. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
use that to further your point.
Yeah, use that to prove your point.
Yeah.
Or block them if it's falling on deaf ears. And the other thing too is like, and I don't even do this, like when you're in a debate with somebody, you're not debating them. You're trying to have everybody watching the debate believe your ideas.
Yeah.
But like, even that, like, I'm done, man. Like, I'm done. I'm gonna try and find meaning within my life. I'm gonna try to build a fucking family, find happiness there, and
that's where it is,
and move forward. Because that's the true meaning. That's like I said, true meaning is creating, being creative,
creating, but just bringing forth life in some way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like not shutting life down. Not stunting its growth.
No,
it's bringing forth somehow and creating. Man, creating is like putting something out like that is that's creating. Yeah, some people might not agree, but that's okay. They don't need to. It's not for everyone. It's for the people that can relate and take that to make their own. You know what I mean?
This is for everyone, whether
I would
like
say,
it or not.
I mean, I would argue. I would argue the same thing. Like I'm just saying, there's people that are gonna shut down.
Yeah, they're gonna read it. They're gonna be triggered.
Yeah.
They're not gonna like words.
Yeah.
It's like I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Like that's what was said. I'm telling you everything that was said. Like, I'm not sugarcoating fucking anything. That's reality. If you don't like it, fucking fine.
And it's an opportunity to get into somebody's experience as being honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm always looking for those opportunities where, like wherever honesty is, I want to go there. Like I don't debate anybody on this. This right here, a friend of mine, he came out. It was a great episode actually, and he's both just Trump supporter up the ass, got the Trump flag on the back, and he's a friend still from the neighborhood, and we could talk. And we wound up being a great episode. There was a little bit of a breakdown on his part because he said some shit to somebody who chimed in and he wasn't right. And it was cool to see that. But I told him before he came on, he after he's like, I want to come back on, but let's have 15-minute segments where we talk. I'm like, it's not a debate, dude. No, like I'm not debating anybody because there's nothing for me to win. I'm having conversations and I'm listening and then I'm giving my points back. But there's nothing to win. Like this is an ongoing conversation that's going to last forever. Like I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to learn. Like I'm trying to understand. I want to hear where people are coming from, and then I want to.
Let me ask you something. Did you learn anything from him?
Yeah, I did actually.
That's cool, though.
Yeah.
Isn't that, and that's the beauty.
Because I saw his point. Like I don't agree with your point, but I see how you got there. Yeah.
Like I think that's important to just try to learn from people, even if you don't agree with them. Like just try to like you said, see where they're coming from. I don't gotta agree with where you're coming from, and sometimes where you're coming from, I can show you statistically and factually that you're coming from a bullshit fucking place. But at least I get to see where you're fucking coming from. I can see.
That's why, like I said, Ben Shapiro. Like I mean, I don't agree with most of what he says, but he puts it out there. He lays out where he comes from.
Yeah, but like this is where I did disagree with. Well, I disagree with Ben Shapiro a lot, but one of the things he's got the same facts don't care about your feelings, and it's the exact opposite. Feelings don't care about facts because tribally, and this has been proven, we're all tribal. So if I show you something that goes against your beliefs, you will hold on tighter to those beliefs
than the facts
because to go along with me is to be ostracized from your group, and to be ostracized from your group back in the day is to die.
Right, right.
So like feeling like that's why I'm like with the debates, it's like these cats are caught in their feelings, bro. It's like they're like, I can't debate, like I can't bring facts to your emotions. I'm never gonna change your fucking mind, dog. Ever.
Aren't both true? Facts don't care about feelings, feelings don't care about facts.
It's both can be true, but most people, unfortunately, we're at a point right now where most people are
living their feelings. Like I look at some Ben shit, I'm like, I know where that comes from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he's got his own slant and all that shit. Yeah. When I hear him talk, like he's got his own fucking slant. And I don't agree with him.
But you still listen. You know what I mean? Like that's the I want to hear some shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never learned anything from somebody I fully agreed with. We have a nice cushy conversation and feel good at the end of it, but I don't learn anything from it really.
Yeah. You're sitting around with two people that disagree on everything. You're basically just jerking off together.
Yeah.
It's like we're basically having a circle jerk right now, and we're
trying to get people out there to validate us. You know what I mean? That's all we're doing. If we're just constantly at each other's throats, or we're just sitting there in a cushy conversation agreeing with each other, what the fuck is the point? Like, why are you even putting that out there?
That's the problem that I've been having too. Like since the COVID shit hit, we've been locked down for a year, and I find that we keep having these circular conversations because we're not having these new experiences, and like it's just like the same.
I never thought of that.
Same fucking thing. It's like, bro, man, I had this conversation one more time about how they're jobbing numbers or this and that, or I'm tired. Like I don't want to have that conversation anymore.
I never thought of that. But it's true. Yeah, I mean,
we're stuck on loop, dog. Yeah, like we're all like so many of us are just stuck on loop. Whether you believe it, whether you don't believe it, you're just saying the same shit over.
This is the first in person that I've had since we got locked out of the studio. I think this is the first in person interview. Everything else has been remote. Remote's good because people from everywhere can. So it's good, but it's nothing like, when you get face to face and you can chop it up, like, because there's a disconnect out there, right?
Like I'm seeing you talking, and communication, verbal is such a small part of actual communication.
Yeah.
Tone, fucking
body language,
facial expressions. If I start clamming up, I'm shutting down. You're talking to me, and I'm closing my arms. You already know that I fucking disagree with you. You know what I mean? Like I'm already telling you that shit.
So and that leads to the next, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So like being able to be in person and just fucking have these conversations, it's really important. And that's something I really miss about the COVID situation, and me doing a radio show is not being able to be face to face.
You haven't had any at Shade 45.
Dude, I like I'm literally doing it. I was doing it on my mom's fucking couch, like looking at a wall. I don't even know if my fucking jokes are landing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just talking shit. Like it's crazy. It's been a crazy experience, but we're getting through it.
I mean, people probably need it now more though, because they're locked down too. So they're tuning into you. They're tuning into whoever now.
Right.
The problem is a lot of motherfuckers are tuning into MSNBC and Fox, and you know what I mean, and they're stuck there in that loop pattern. But I'm gonna think about that more because that's true. We are stuck in a loop pattern. Loop patterns are dangerous.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, dog, like I don't care what fucking news thing you're watching, who owns it, who's fucking giving them money, what are they telling you and what are they fucking not telling you? There's been times on Google where I go to search things and they won't fucking give me the answer. So it's like they're Google is supposed to give you information.
You go over to another server and
suppressing information.
Yeah.
I'll search it 20 different fucking ways and they won't fucking tell me the information.
But then you go over to Firefox and all of a sudden you get your answer.
Yeah, maybe sometimes.
Sometimes.
Just it depends what you're asking.
Yeah.
It depends on how fucking controversial the question is.
And ain't that crazy that pedophile shit, that big ring that everybody talked about, that could be out there like that?
Yeah.
And then, it blows my mind that could be out. So then when it's out there like that, there's an agenda behind it. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's out there like that, there's an agenda behind that shit.
That was my biggest problem with Hollywood. Like they're like sitting here clapping for Polanski and shit like that. And it's like, you guys have been openly and like, fucking the guy that did Usual Suspects and shit. They're talking about like fucking Me Too. Like, let's talk about these 15-year-old boys that are being drugged and butt fucked, dog. Like, and they don't get $1 million contracts either. Right. You know what I mean? It's not cats on couch. They're just getting fucking railed by old men. But no one wants to talk about that.
No, let's talk about it all, right? Like,
yeah, I want to talk about everything. And I guess my point was even like that. Remember the meme Epstein didn't kill himself? That's that wag the dog shit where it's like, it doesn't matter whether Epstein killed himself. They're still fucking kids, dude. Yeah. Let's talk about them fucking kids. Let's talk about rich people that are fucking kids for whatever fucking reason. I don't know what reason. Let's talk about let's talk about who's on these flights. Who's fucking the fucking kids?
Not the conspiracy. Let's get to some facts. Yeah, and let's figure out why it's happening and how it's been allowed to happen. You know what I mean?
Man, I don't look, dog. People have been fucking kids since the beginning of fucking time. Yeah, there's something like you like democracy. Those guys are fucking kids. You know what I mean? Like Plato and Socrates are butt fucking children. But so
shit blows my mind.
There's something in the human condition that where we prey on one another.
To a certain degree, yeah. I mean, just the man chasing the woman in the way that we were conditioned. I remember, I have a daughter now. Somebody says I'm gonna fuck that bitch to my daughter. You know what I mean? Like that's how we were talking, just normal and rap hip hop culture. Fuck that bitch. That's how we said shit out. You know? Yeah. But I look back at it now, I'm like, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, and you also gotta look at context and all that shit, and like fucking like.
But it's not fucking kids though.
Yeah, and one word means something different to another person. You know what I mean? That's the other thing too. It's like I actually had an author on, and in order for me to, and she was Harvard, worked for Google, Harvard. So she was coming from a very different place than the people that listen to my radio show are working class. A big chunk of them are working class, fucking oil field ass motherfuckers, hood dudes. Yeah. And I said something, I was like, oh, that's gay as hell. And I did it on purpose to get these fucking hood dudes to open up about their fucking feelings. And she was offended by it. And I was like, look, man, like, I'm not here to talk your language. Like, I'm trying to get these dudes to open up. So I might use language that you don't like.
That's offensive to you.
That to get these people comfortable to come and talk about real ass feelings, and we can actually do some healing. So it's like you might not like the words, but like look at the bigger fucking picture here.
Yeah. That's how we talk. I don't care if somebody, I never even thought about what that it meant to be gay really in my neighborhood, but we were all, my dad, he's a pacifist, he's a Native American Cherokee, he's, you know, not a violent bone in the man's body, even though he would stick up for who he loved, but that's how we would greet each other. Hey, homo, you know, it was funny. It never really put it towards gay. Like it never really meant, it was always like a jab at each other. I get that the origin of that, it comes from
the other thing too is like, all right, bro, if you got upset, prove me wrong and go suck a dick right now. Like if there's nothing wrong with it, go fucking blow some, suck my dick. Yeah. I'm gonna take my dick out and prove how fucking cool it is. Yeah. So I guess it is an insult to some fucking people or a jab to some fucking people. And it's not way, like I come from a hippie ass family, and like I've been on the show for 16 years, and a lot has changed in 16 years. And I've been in fucking fights with the hood because there's a lot of homophobia in hip hop. There's a lot of homophobia in rap. And I've literally been fighting with motherfuckers about this shit. And I'm using dialogue I'm using words that NPR won't like. But I'm not trying to change NPR's mind. I'm trying to change the fucking hood's mind.
Not preaching to the choir, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Fucking exactly. So you might not like the words, but look beyond the words and look at the context.
And people get caught in semantics. Like when I first put this together, I don't make any money off this. I lose money because I feel like it's important. It was therapeutic at first. Like I was always so avoidant of, I didn't want conflict. I wasn't there yet because I didn't know if I wouldn't snap and fucking
Right.
like, over some dumb shit.
Yeah.
And after therapy, I was like, all right, I think it's time to get out there now and allow some conflict into my life, see if I can handle it. And I can handle it. Like I'm a good punching bag because I ain't gonna flip out over shit. I don't give a fuck. You have a different opinion, that's great. You know, we don't have to even argue about the shit. Just give it to me. And then
we move forward.
Yeah,
and
and
I'll
then
think about
I'm
it.
gonna think about it, you
Yeah.
know, and then I'll provide context to it, and that's discernment.
Yeah.
But the whole point of this thing was to bypass semantics. Like, let's fuck the words. Like, we can talk about the words, but let's ask what they mean to you and how you feel about it. Because when we get caught in semantics, I remember the church I belong to now, because the word church is attached to it. Like, fuck that place. I ain't going to. And my therapist told me, you know, I'm all fucking quantum physics. Quantum physics is what led me into spirituality, this all encompassing oneness. I don't care what you call it. There's something. I don't know what kind of consciousness. I don't have the ego to say that I know exactly what that shit is. But I feel it. When I go into meditation, I know it's there. When I look at my kids, I know it's there. There's that. So
shit, when you look at a tree, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I go outside and I look at the stars.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm in meditation. I come back, but I can pull myself out of any fucking mood that I'm in just in that moment. So like, but I got caught on that fucking word God. And because of that, like the people that I'm with in this place, in this surrounding, this is the best fucking thing in the world for me. But I couldn't go there. It took a daddy-daughter dance. So I was like, well, I can do that with my daughter. And I never left. You know what I mean? Deepak Chopra was coming in next. And oh, there's my daughter now. Yeah, get her on. What's up, Sophie? Want to say hi to Jude?
Hi, Sophie.
We're on the podcast, honey. Amber's in the other room, honey. Hey, I just wanted to answer this because you're here, but I love you. And let me call you after the podcast, all right? Say bye to Jude. Love you too, hon. Gotta answer the daughter's call.
The other thing too is like, people got so like, people became so anti-Christian, so pushed up against the church. But the thing is in us, there's something in us that yearns for some type of religion. And we're gonna find religion somewhere.
Connection is something higher, I'd say, like something bigger than us.
Well, you want group, you want community.
Yeah.
You want answers to questions. You want sacred shit. You want sacred rituals. A lot of these things. You read the text and they're they don't really prove anything. They're self-referential. So it's like, I'm not Christian, but like suddenly like Christianity compared to some of this other shit that people are getting into, like worshiping the government or worshiping the news, like Christianity doesn't seem that bad.
I like that golden rule now all of a sudden.
I'm like, yo, it's like the devil, you know. It's like, all right, dude, like, you know, they've chilled out a bit over the last 30, 40 years. They're pretty fucking chill now. And this other group of people are fucking losing their goddamn minds, and Christianity's looking a lot fucking better. Even like my atheist friends, I'm like, yo, bro, like atheism has become your religion.
It is a religion. That's one of the, like, so it's one thing that, like, I know some people that are fanatic Christians, right? And if you don't know Jesus as your savior, you will go to hell. How the fuck can you say that? You can't say that. That's stupid. Don't say that shit. That's not even love. But at the same token, the people that would be devout atheists, you don't know. They're like, how about just not knowing and wondering about the shit? Like, you don't fucking know. Like, you're fucked if there is.
Atheists are like vegans. They can't wait to fucking tell you about they're like, okay, dude, I'm gonna not give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like, I believe in rent. I believe that I gotta fucking pay my mortgage.
Yeah.
But and everything else, I try to find like some love and
where's my truth?
Spirituality.
You just said the key thing. Like, where's the love? I'm not finding love in it.
I believe in trees. I believe in nature. I believe in all of that shit. I believe that life is bigger than us, and it will continue going, and that this is as much as we argue that this is just a blink in time, and that we truly don't really matter.
Well, we do. I think
but
we matter.
Through that, it's that dichotomy of us not mattering and finding something to make us matter.
Purpose. Because in that purpose, like, I think that's what the journey is. So we're dualistic in nature. There's this truth. We know we got this truth in us that society has raised us to be opposed to. So there's things you just talked about, these basic human concepts. Like when you see a kid, they don't know race, they don't know anything. They're empathetic, and then society teaches you, well, you got to get money, you got to do this, you got to do that, and it pulls you away from this thing that you actually are. So you become dualistic. Right. And that's what in spirituality is. Look, we're human beings having a spiritual experience. When we get to that truth, when you go to that place, that fucking place that ketamine takes you, or meditation, or these peak experiences, you feel what that is. Yeah. You can't really explain it, because it's a real individualized experience. But I can talk to you, and I know that you went there because of the way you talk about it, right? So there's that shared experience that if you've never been there, you really can't even speak on it. You know what I mean? Like, and when you hear people talk, when they haven't. You know what I mean? And you're like, man, I hope you get there. I hope you get that feeling at least.
My favorite question to ask someone is like super fucking uptight. Is like, have you done psychedelics? You know what I mean? I'm just kind of curious, and like maybe you should. And 90% of the time, I'm right. Every now and again, you'll get that 10% that like, yeah, they're still fucking uptight and in their fucking weird ways. But like, psychedelics really knock you off of your square, and I'm grateful for them because
unintentionally,
so many great ideas I've gotten.
Man, it was I was so controlled that I was afraid of them, because I thought in my
control issues. So
I thought I control. I didn't really. We don't control shit. Our response to things, that's all we control. But I thought I could control my environment, so I was scared. And then that time I got ripped out of my body, and I had no control. The first time I experienced meditation, I was on a flight. I used to hate flying. The first time I came back to Michigan from LA, ATF came and grabbed me because I was being subpoenaed, so I had to fly. First time flying, fucking hated flying. Would drive as much as I could. So I'm on a flight back from New York to Detroit, and the plane drops like 10,000 feet, and like shit's on the fucking ceiling. Everybody's freaking out. The girl that's with me, she's squeezing my hand, and I just remember I got real fucking calm. Like everything was so peaceful and everything was in slow motion, and I still remember that feeling. And because I think I came to grips with I was cool with whatever was about to happen.
I had the exact same experience, and I threw on my headphones. I put on Bob Seger Night Moves, and I was like, "Fuck it, if I'm gonna die, like
you come to grips with your mortality."
I'm like, whatever, like this is what it is. Like I have no control over this.
That's that acceptance shit that they'll talk about in the 12th. Yeah, I can't control this shit. What am I going to be uptight about it for? That's when motherfuckers, they're uptight about everything and they want to control it. You ain't getting to control anybody. No. Control your response to it. You don't like it, respond in a way that might change things. You know what I mean? But that's it. Don't try to change a person. No. Now, like you said, if they're touching kids' booties, they got to go. If you're out there raping people, if you're fucking robbing people at gun, you gotta go. There's not a place for you here.
And like, look, we can dig down and find a reason for fucking everything.
Like,
there's a reason for everything, but like, there's certain shit like we just can't condone.
There's a reason, like there's times where I can reason with my kids, but then when like they do something that's real disrespectful, to me, that's you're running into traffic. I'm gonna knock you out of the way of traffic. My response has to be immediate. So if somebody's victimizing somebody, the response has to be immediate. They got to be taken out of that environment. Maybe they can be reformed if you get to the reason they do that shit. But some things you're not allowed to victimize people. Like you just can't do that. That's not okay. Everything else can be talked about for the most part. You know what I mean? If people would just fucking talk.
And like sometimes like kids you can reason, but like
most times you can't.
Sometimes they just got to be afraid and they can figure it out later.
Yeah, you got to get right in their face. You don't have to hit them, but you got to make them fear that there's some shit coming that you don't want to experience.
Yeah. You don't want to have to explain to them how fucking them running into traffic and like the nuances of all this. Like they're fucking
floored. Shit.
Yeah, they're floored. You need to be like, get the fuck out of the
guy. I didn't know this, but I didn't know that it's about 8 years old. That's where kids have the ability to. That's where they gain forethought. Until they're fucking 8, they don't even. They're all reaction. They're mechanical in everything they do. So I'm treating. Unfortunately, I didn't learn this till my son was about 6. But so I'm treating him like he's a normal human being, right? Like fuck that I can talk to him and he don't fucking know what the fuck I'm saying. Time out. Get your ass in time out. You know what I mean? He doesn't know because he can't fucking. His brain doesn't function that way yet.
No, You're speaking Chinese.
Yeah, exactly. and I'm punishing him, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah,
of course he didn't listen, he don't fucking know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
you know?
true that.
My kids saved my life, you know what I mean, if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be where I am today in terms of my ability to listen. You
That's
know?
a fucking blessing. I
It
gotta
is,
bail.
but, yeah, no, I wanted to go out on that final part you said where, talking about the love and like, if you read the book and you can find the love in it, like there's so get it. You just, he dropped, the new one, how long ago?
2 months ago. It's Hummingbird Special Edition. If you type in Jude Hummingbird, the white cover one will come up. I actually get paid for that one, and that one has the extra story in it.
Yeah.
Also, Hyena is another one.
You got the rights back on that, or?
Nah, but like whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's worth reading. And if you don't feel like reading, steal the shit. You can steal it off of goddamn fucking YouTube. You can listen to me read.
Life goes on to
Read it like it's poetry, word for word. Don't speed read that shit, and read the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be some shit in there that's gonna make you uncomfortable, might make you disgusted, but read the whole fucking thing because the sum is greater than the parts.
And you just heard what his intent is. So when you hear it from the horse's mouth, you can't listen to anybody who has anything bad to say or judge it. Like that's the intent. So it can't be anything but that. It's a human condition. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I know I never get to your fucking question. I will get to your questions. I never get to them on air. I need a producer. Who's your guy, Joe? Or
John.
Yeah, I need a fucking John running this shit.
He don't get to my fucking questions either. So.
You know?
He's good at tech shit though, so God bless him.
Yeah, I need a John. All right, man. June.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. This is hey.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for the first in-person.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
All right.
yeah. More in-persons to come too, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for sure.
I want people to not be afraid and be able to sit down and chop it up with you face to face.
We'll keep it going.
That's right.
All right, dude. All right. We'll be oh shit. Lisha Sky of the Trauma Research Foundation on Monday. So I'll be posting on that. Thank you.